into the day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, I tune to my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning Expresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
Good morning. Yes, I know, but put the brakes on. Put the brakes on. Can we just acknowledge how unbelievably gorgeous you look this morning?
Oh, thank you.
Pretty. What did you do differently this morning? I mean, you always look gorgeous.
I was going to say, is it something different today?
You look beautiful today.
You used to look good.
No,
I would prefer you in a polo neck, but I'll take a golf with you this morning. A very good morning to you,
I can't do it every day. Very good morning. We're done gushing over each other. It's just because it's been a weekend. We haven't seen each other, and we are just that excited to see you guys as well. So hopefully you made the most of the weekend, but you're feeling ready, supercharged for the week, whether you're working from home or not.
Yes, absolutely. This morning we are focusing on achieving greatness, from celebrating our local sportsmen ahead of the Olympics to learning how to master a new skill even under lockdown. I remember last year everyone was learning a new TikTok dance, everyone was baking banana bread. So to learn a new skill now with a third wave, I mean, I'm interested to...
I'm cooking. I'm improving my cooking, and I am actually.
But you are a good cook.
No, but now I'm unlocking the next level. I really am. And we're going to inspire you with some people who are getting it right as well. And talking about inspiration, we're going to introduce you to artistic swimmers Clarissa Johnston and Laura Strugnell, who, of course, are making history going to the Olympics. I think the first artistic swimming team to do this in almost 3-4 decades. Wow. So an incredible achievement there.
Then we're also going to be meeting the first South African to qualify for FIFA E World Cup final. So a lot of people to take inspiration from on this Monday. And certainly someone that we are looking to take inspiration from this morning is one that should also go to the Olympics for being the hottest, or maybe the second hottest person. Is that
the most manly?
The most manly.
The most manly.
You beautiful souls. Thank you so much for warming us up this Monday morning. And to you, Mzansi, thank you for joining us. Jamie, you really do look good. I'm not going to lie, you've got this glow. And I think everybody this Monday is going to try and grab that energy. And while we're talking about good energy, we've got champion energy coming through on the show this morning. I think you heard it, all these superstars that are going to be joining us and some Olympians too. And I thought, why not talk about Olympics? And today's topic this morning is all about if you were an Olympian, if you were a champion, or maybe you really are, what would the event be in the Olympics that you compete in? So what would you compete in the Olympics if you could? What would that event be? You can make it up even, have some fun with it, but let us know on our social media channels, of course. That's Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're all over the show. We are live right here this Monday, kicking off the magic, and you get to join us for the ride, people. I hope you enjoyed the show. We've got 3 hours of nothing but love coming right at you, and we're starting off with the news. Let's check it out.
Thank you so much, Geraldo Morne. Time to have a first look at those news headlines. Starting with your national news, the Constitutional Court will hear former President Jacob Zuma's urgent application to rescind its order sentencing him to jail for 15 months for contempt of court next Monday. The Con Court issued these directions on Saturday after Zuma had made the application on Friday. Yesterday, Zuma thanked hundreds of supporters who had gathered at his home in Nkandla in northern KwaZulu-Natal for supporting him in his appeal against his sentence. Zuma spoke in Zulu with regards to this. Then staying with your local news as well, the South African Police Service is gearing up to vaccinate its members. At least 180,000 officers and other staff are being targeted to get the jab. The vaccination rollout will be launched today in Soweto by Police Minister Becky Cele, Acting Health Minister Mamaloko Kubayi Ngobane, and Commissioner General Ketla Sitole. Now, the goal is to inoculate frontline officers involved in day-to-day operations. Tele and Sitole will be vaccinated first. Meanwhile, 16,585 new infections, a drop after 2 consecutive record highs, and 333 deaths were reported in the past 24 hours. Then looking to news further abroad, a delegation from the Southern African Development Community, the SADC, met with the Eswatini government yesterday amid ongoing lethal protests in the country. The SADC troika was led by Botswana's Minister of International Affairs and Cooperation, Lemogang Kwape. South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Naledi Pandor, was also present. Eswatini has seen violent protests with looting and businesses set alight since last week. Now, demonstrators are calling for multi-party democracy in Africa's last absolute monarchy. A Philippines military plane has crashed in the southern Philippines, killing at least 45 people, with dozens more pulled alive from the burning wreckage. The Lockheed C-130 Hercules was carrying more than 90 people, mostly troops, when it overshot the runway on Jolo Island. The dead are mainly military personnel, but 3 civilians on the ground were also killed. The soldiers were among reinforcements sent to the southern Philippines to combat Islamist militants. Now, officials said there was no sign that the aircraft had been attacked. And then, of course, with the South African hospitality industry again bearing the brunt of the current third hard lockdown, a well-known pizzeria in Hout Bay is not only making plans to keep its head above water, but also to support those less fortunate in its vicinity. The pizzeria is adapting its business model by converting the restaurant into a soup kitchen. Now, with the help of donations, it will be able to keep its staff employed and feed the community through the winter chill. In fact, supporting the community and giving back is nothing new for it during the COVID-19 pandemic, because during the first hard lockdown in 2020, it raised more than 200,000 rand to help feed the local community, as well as donating free pizzas to fire victims from a local informal settlement in the same year. What a beautiful story to end off your 6 a.m. news headlines. I'll be back on the hour. Here is G with a first look at those sports headlines.
Thanks so much, Jamie. Let's start with cricket. The Proteas recorded a 25-run victory over the West Indies in their 5th and final T20 international match at the National Cricket Stadium in Grenada to clinch the series 3-2. Temba Bavuma won the toss and elected to bat first as South Africa went on to post 168 for 4. Aiden Markram contributing 70 from 48 deliveries to be man of the match. Quinton de Kock also smashing 50 from just 42 deliveries to continue his incredible form. The Windies failing to reach their target, finishing on 143 for 9 as the Proteas clinched that series win. Then on to rugby. Locally, the Springboks started their preparations for the upcoming British and Irish Lions Test Series with a 49 victory over Georgia at Loftus Versfeld on Friday. The Boks held a 19-9 lead at half-time, certainly needed improvement, but debutant winger Apelele Fassi did score with his first touch of the ball with an opening try to guide the home side to that lead in the first half. Then Jacques Nienaber's side eventually running in 6 tries to none, showing some resolve and some patience throughout the match. South Africa will face Georgia in a second encounter in Pretoria this coming Friday, again at 7 p.m. On the flip side of that coin, the British and Irish Lions got their Lions series off to a winning start after an impressive 56-14 win over the Sigma Lions at the Emirates Airline Park in Johannesburg on Saturday. Wales wing Rhys Zamity scored a 4th-minute debut try as well, and Josh Adams scored 4 tries to guide their team to victory. The British and Irish Lions will take on the Sharks this coming Wednesday. That one kicks off at 7 p.m. and then face the Springboks in the first of their 3 tests on the 24th of July. Staying with rugby, the junior Springboks kept a clean sheet and made it 4 wins and 4 encounters with a 27-9 victory over Argentina. That was in the final match of their Under-20 International Series at a very wet Newlands Stadium on Saturday. Andre Hugo Venter, he secured the win for the junior Boks over the Los Pumitas with 2 more tries in the final 15 minutes of the match to show the structures are clearly in place. In the first game of the day, Georgia beat Uruguay 29 to finish their campaign on a winning note as well. Then on to football. Denmark, England, Italy and Spain have all confirmed their spots in the Euro 2020 semi-finals. So on Saturday, Harry Kane struck twice as England thrashed the Ukraine 4-0. Then Denmark just edged out the Czech Republic 2-1 in their quarter-final clashes. So Friday night, Nicolo Barella and Lorenzo Insigne, they guided Italy to that 2-1 win over a very strong Belgium side. Then after a 1-1 draw, Spain beat Switzerland 3-1 in a nervy penalty shootout to advance to the last 4. So Italy will face Spain in the first semi-final, and that one's tomorrow. And then England take on Denmark for a place in the final on Wednesday. Both matches kicking off at 9 p.m. And then finally, on to motorsport. He's done the hat-trick. Red Bull's Max Verstappen made it 3 wins in a row from pole position in the Austrian Grand Prix yesterday. Verstappen finished ahead of Mercedes' Valtteri Bottas and McLaren's Lando Norris. 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton finished just outside of the podium positions in 4th place. So Verstappen has now moved 32 points clear of Hamilton at the top of the drivers' standings on 182 points. Jeremy Harris is here to dish the dirt on all of the weekend sport, and we'll kick it off with rugby in just a moment. But right now, let's see what the weather has in store.
Thank you so much, Dee, for that sports update. We'll start with the international weather news first. News from Canada, the country that we actually featured during our show on Friday. Now, some 350 members of Canada's military, as well as aircraft, are on standby to help evacuate residents in British Columbia, where wildfires linked to a record-breaking heat wave threaten to engulf communities. Emergency services say they are now trying to control more than 170 fires, many triggered by lightning strikes. Some 12,000 lightning strikes, many of those hitting near communities, were recorded on Saturday alone. Many western areas in the country are tinder dry following the unprecedented hot weather that was experienced. Meanwhile, at least 2 people are reported to have died in the village of Lytton that was destroyed by fire on Wednesday. Lytton recorded Canada's highest ever temperature of 49.6 degrees Celsius on Tuesday. And then while we enjoy experiencing a sunrise from your part of South Africa, we do have some international viewers that are tuning in on both YouTube and the Africa channel in the USA. This morning, we report on the weather from Kinshasa, the capital and largest city of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, with a population of 15 million as of 2021, it is the largest city in Africa. Once a site of fishing and trading villages situated along the Congo River, Kinshasa is now one of the world's fastest growing mega cities. Now, your day ahead will be mostly cloudy, giving way to some sun, reaching a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius. It is, of course, a brand new week, which means we have a whole new batch of sunrise images to share as well. Now, starting us off this Monday morning, we have this beautiful view overlooking the city of Pretoria, which was shared by Nkateko Maluleke. What a beautiful way to start your day off with. Now, heading to the coast, we also have one from Nolene Osborne from Bluff, who shared this photo of the blue sky scattered with clouds as the sun casts its hazy light over the area. Again, we encourage you, please do continue to share your sunrise photos with us on the Expresso Facebook page. We love seeing how you start your day. Right now, though, let's have a first look at the temperatures for today. We start off with Polokwane. Do expect a low of 10 today, peaking at a 20. If you find yourself in Umbombela, expect a range of 14 to 19. Pretoria, for you, it is a minimum of 10, peaking at a 23. Johannesburg, your low is 7 with a high of 20. Mahikeng can be seen with a range of 6 to 25, and then for you, Klerksdorp, it is ranging from 4 to 20. Kimberley coming through with a low of -3 and a high of 16, and then Bloemfontein following with -3 and a high of 19. Richards Bay, rain is coming your way, ranging from 12 to 19 as well, and then Pietermaritzburg can also expect some rain with a low of 10 and a high of 15. South Africa's playground at Durban ranges from 15 to 18. Mthatha, for you, it is 118. East London 819, and then Craddock with a low of 0 and a high of 14. Gqeberha, for you, it is 618. If you do find yourself in George today, do expect a low of 5 and a high of 17. Cape Town, the mother city, can expect a minimum of 8 and a maximum of 16. Worcester, sunshine coming your way with a low of 2, peaking at 17, and then Sutherland coming through with -3 and a high of 11, so you might want to grab your coat today. And then last but definitely not least, Uppington ranges from 2 to 20 today. And that is where I leave your weather here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Good stories, full of creative language that stimulates our imagination. Our authors carefully pick words and phrases that unlock the words that they are using to create for us. And what happens, though, when there are no storybooks available in your own home language?
Yeah, now, gee, this is an actual reality, and it's the frustration that many South Africans face. And Cadbury Dairy Milk is working to change this by translating different words to help co-author a children's library full of African language storybooks. How awesome is that?
Oh, man, and we've been jumping right on board
Yeah.
and doing our part by translating just a word a day. So we want you to join us and play your part with today's delicious word, which is chocolate.
Chocolates, baby chocolates. I always think of that song. I don't know why. I love this word.
Chocolade. Chocolade.
Chocolade is Afrikaans, right?
Chocolade, yeah. Well,
Right.
I'm sure you say it slightly better, but that's exactly what I know it to be. And we're asking you guys to tell us what this word is translated into this week's African language that we have chosen. The focus is Tsonga. So chocolate in Tsonga is chocolati.
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 Okay, some chocolati, all right. I love this. I love the fact that we're also using words that we commonly use. I mean, chocolate's like kryptonite.
Yeah.
Everybody uses it in South
You've got to kind of
Africa.
say it, because it is a bit, you know, I always look for that onomatopoeic way of like, chocolati. Because you want it, chocolati, give it to me, please.
I feel you on that one. But Zanzi, you guys get to be a part of this magic, and you can help ensure that all children enjoy enchanting African language tales in their own language. And that's by translating just one word and co-author a full library of African language children's storybooks in our own words. I mean, using that hashtag in our own words. And you can visit cadbury.co.za and Cadbury Dairy Milk SA on Facebook, Cadbury SA on Twitter, and of course, Instagram to start sharing your world. Oh, not your world, but your words too.
What do you want? Chocolati.
Chocolati!
Chocolati, give it to me.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. Now we're talking about fashion, and I'm asking you to help me out, but I think I've got the one right. So obviously when it comes to your wardrobe, looking good is a way of expressing yourself without actually speaking. And when you want to do something classy and stylish, I mean, an all black look is a really good way to go, right? I mean, it's safe, it's classy, it's elegant, like we've spoken about. But if you're looking for that pop of color, which is especially a great way to make a statement and to just stand out and scream and celebrate, then you've come to the right place. And I found just the thing, because Woolies have a quality sale on right now at the moment, and I found something which I think will go perfectly with this black look, just to kind of make this look pop. So I've got this printed camo puff over here. It's a gillet look, and I don't know what you guys think about this, but you maybe can let me know in the social media channels. But especially with the chill, it doesn't mean to really take away from the elegance and the class that my look already had with the all black, but it kind of just gives that nature boy elegance and style, gives them more utilitarian feel, and kind of just makes this look pop, right? I don't know what you think, but let me know in the social media channels. I'd love to know what you think of my elegant choice of puffer. You can zip it up and be cool about it. And guess what? There's more. There's a 50% happening on sale up until the 25th of July at Woolies. That's their quality sale, where you can grab lots of these options, lots of these colors to make your wardrobe pop this winter. So what are you waiting for? Let's get our style on.
Oh, Raul, you look like a superstar this morning. Yeah, looking fresh. Now, we are hanging out with another superstar this morning. She was born and bred in Cape Town, singer and songwriter. Simone Boyson grew up in a musical family and got involved in a church's worship team during her high school years. Now, today, she is a high school teacher herself, passionate about teaching sciences, and a love for music has further developed as she has written and recorded original music. Take a look at this.
My story starts with you, Mother, my friend. Words can comprehend my love for you, and I'm so grateful that God chose you. I'm so grateful to call you Mom. I'm so grateful that God chose.
Absolutely beautiful this morning. Simone Boyson now joins us in studio to debut that brand new single, Constant, for our Gospel Monday performance this morning. Welcome, Simone. Welcome. I know there's only a few of us in the studio, but we try. We try to create
I'm loving the energy here.
Your music video kind of took us away a little bit. It's very wistful and beautiful. It must be so cool seeing the end result of so much hard work. But I've got to ask, take us back to the beginning, because you've got a stunning voice. Your tone is absolutely gorgeous. You could have gone pretty much any direction you wanted. When did gospel become the thing? When did that kind of grab you and clearly keep you?
Yeah, well, I grew up in church all my life. My parents were worship leaders for over 20 years.
Wow.
So I'd like to think
you
I
had
was
no choice.
born to be a worship leader.
No choice,
No. So from the womb, I think, it transferred over. And the minute I started in church, I just knew this is exactly where I belong.
Feels right.
And you know that feeling you get when you found your thing and you just have to keep going with that. So I knew I had to pursue it. I knew I had to go fully after it. And yeah, church is where it all began. And God has always been central to our family, central to our life. And so I can't do anything without him.
I love that you found your purpose at such a young age. But tell us about it. Constant, a brand new single, exclusively on your Feel Good Breakfast show. What was the inspiration behind that track?
So, during lockdown, my parents are pastors, so they were getting lots of calls of people having such difficult times and people just really struggling with what was going on. And it just led me to sit at the piano at night and sing songs that were just true and things that you just knew, because everything around us was changing all the time. We couldn't predict what was going to happen. And so when I sat down to write Constant, I thought, in the middle of an unraveling world, there's one thing I know. That there's one person who stays constant. There's one person who's never going to change. And I'm going to hold on to that. And so I thought that's what I'd write about. And just hopefully get everyone to remember that he's the one who's going to stay the same yesterday, today, and forevermore.
It's amazing how many artists kind of found their truth during this time, having the time to actually be creative, to sit and write, just to go and do it. And so often you're dealing with the real world. In your case, obviously you have a day job, and that day job is looking after beautiful kids. How old are the kids that you teach?
Well, I teach from grade 10 to grade 12, so 16 to 18. I know I don't look like a matric teacher, but I am a matric registered teacher. I'm a matric. I really love my job. I'm one of those people who's been fortunate enough to fall into both their passions and realize that, my life is purpose-filled, it's purposeful, and I particularly wanted to do this today to remind my kids that, sometimes things scare you and sometimes opportunities pop up, but guys, you got to jump.
Are you nervous? Are you scared today? Sure.
Oh, I'm nervous. Absolutely. It's national television. I mean, in my brain, I'm like, don't mess up. Don't mess up, man.
How do your kids feel about you singing? Because obviously they know you've got this kind of dual...
I have so much explaining to do. I just got messages like, ma'am, please explain.
Do they not know that you can sing?
They do know that I can sing, and they know that some of them know I have a YouTube channel, but it's not something I discuss because when I'm in class, we're talking
Gotta
science,
focus, girl.
you know.
You
That's
gotta
what we got to
focus,
do. I'm talking about process skills, critical thinking, you know, that's, we're on it. Come on, learn the periodic table, let's go. So this is very different, but 100% I know they have my back. They support me through this entire thing. I'm sure they're awake right now. Even though it's school holiday,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're awake just to
You can
support
still be in your
me today.
pajamas, it's all right, as long
Definitely.
as you're watching and supporting, yeah.
It's okay, just pretend it's a Zoom lesson and,
Yeah.
and go with it.
And they're probably so excited to see their teacher on screen this morning. What have you prepared for us today and for the rest of Mzansi?
So today we'll be doing, I don't know what songs came through, but I think Father of Wonder. And basically, my only intention for today is that I hope that whatever we experience here, people experience at home. Because it's one thing to sing really nice, it's one thing to play really nice, but all I want people to do is experience exactly what I'm feeling. I really hope that you get to feel the same thing today.
We're going to hit you in the feels. Let's take a look at the poll, in fact, to see what the people are saying, where the thought is at the moment. And it seems pretty even right across the board, in fact. Look at that, depths of your love, getting 36%.
6%.
Father of Wonder, 36% as well. And the goodness of God chasing third with 28%. It looks like a bit of a two-horse race at the moment, pretty even. Would you mind which song you sing? Do you have a favourite?
Definitely Father of Wonder, because that song is just so life-changing, and it's just about understanding that when you experience God, how can you ever be the same?
Well,
will
you look excited,
experience
we
the
look
wonder
excited,
this
yeah. Well, stay tuned as singer-songwriter Simone Boyson will be performing 3 inspiring tracks for Gospel Monday in just a few moments. You don't want to go anywhere.
Only you can make my day.
Nourish your skin with Ingram's for Men, enriched with triple glycerine. For 48-hour moisture and no stickiness. Ingram's, your skin, your brave.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Raga. Welcome back. Time to get into our weekend sports chat. And we're going to start with rugby. Big weekend, in fact, in local rugby. The Springboks made a winning return to the game after about a year and a half of not seeing the field. The British and Irish Lions looked good, romping past the Lions in Johannesburg. And then the Junior Boks, they beat Argentina in their Under-20 International Series final at Newlands to go unbeaten in the competition. Sports anchor Jeremy Harris is here to give us the lowdown. We were actually pretty close.
Yeah,
for
we
most of our
should have put
calls,
some money on it. We would have come away with
I
something.
did. Oh, no, I did, man. I did. No, I love the fact that we were able to take in rugby on just about every level. We saw just about every major team in action again, which was fantastic. I'm going to start with South Africa and Georgia because we were the long-awaited return of the Springboks. Almost a game of two halves. Looked a little bit rusty in that first half. Certainly the discipline wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you used the right word. It definitely was rust. The familiarity wasn't there straight up, you know, when the match got underway. But I think, as you say, the second half, maybe a couple of gentle words from Coach Jacques Nienaber in the change room would have helped them as well, just to motivate them. But then they just clicked, and things were looking a whole lot better by the time 80 minutes came.
And it was that idea of trying to earn the right to run the ball wide. And that being said, Apelele Fassi getting the first touch of the ball literally was a try.
Wow.
And a great test for Jacques Nienaber, first of all, and almost good that he didn't start right out the gates, that he had to come in there and kind of state his case at half-time. What did did you make of his first outing as coach? This has got to be a really positive.
Yeah, I don't think he wasn't panicking. Thank goodness he's also got the benefit of his most probably over-experienced water boy, in former coach and director of rugby now, Rassie Erasmus. But I mean, I think that the two of them are calm heads together and they work well together. And so there was no panic. And I mean, all credit to Georgia. I really thought that they came at us full tilt. There was so much physicality.
Yeah.
At some stages, I think that Ibn Etzebeth wasn't enjoying it, but that's exactly what they were doing. They were getting under his skin.
Targeted him in particular, but they knew where to meet the South Africans.
Yeah.
They disrupted ball. They were very physical. They worked. They clearly had a game plan coming into this. You compare it to the performance of what happened with the All Blacks, and you could see for Georgia they put up a really good fight.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you in comparison, if you had to be the one camp versus the other, looking at the performance of the Springboks and looking at the performance of the British and Irish Lions, I kind of feel like the British and Irish Lions would have taken more positives watching the Boks play than vice versa. There clearly was still a little bit to work on before we're ready to face them.
Yes, and I think you're right. I think that you probably would say that on balance, on the day, maybe the Boks come away with like a 6 out of 10 and the British and Irish Lions like a 7 out of 10 because neither side really fired. I mean, albeit that there were big scores, 40-9 and 56-14. At one stage, the British and Irish Lions themselves were in trouble. They were under siege. 21-14 was as close as the Lions got, and they were asking questions of them. But I think the fact that maybe some of the players, most of the players on the park for the British and Irish Lions had played fairly competitive, hard rugby more often than our lot have.
Yeah, they've come out of a
And I think that made a difference. That made a difference.
Yeah, clearly the level of physicality is there. But let's look at, if you're going to make a debut in a Springbok jersey, this is exactly how you do it. Take a look at this.
Steph du Toit. Yeah, Apalele Fassi's got a chance. The first real touch for him. Has he got it down? It would seem that that's not try. I just wondered whether he maybe put a foot in touch as he headed for that corner flag. What a great start for the debutant.
He's really shown form in the last 3 years. Yeah, we're just looking to see if he actually didn't touch the paint. And you can see just striding away. He could remember those days playing at the old graveyard in Dow College, Sir Langhamdale, down in King Williamstown, and finally in the green and gold touches it down. It's good work from the youngster.
He's done really well to get that down too, despite that tackle. He's a tall fellow. He's kept those gangling legs in field.
Superb finish. And that's the start that you want in your first appearance for your national colours.
Yeah, brilliant stuff, Farsi. Thank you. Brilliant stuff here by Apalele Fassi.
Like he's been doing it for years.
Yeah, exactly. He's a tall lad as well, as the commentator was mentioning. So it was a distance for him to get down to get the ball on the ground. But wow, what a great moment for him.
A couple of moments of it, you kind of got the feeling every time Roscoe Speckman touched the ball that you were waiting for something to happen. Willemse as well also had some great touches. Who shone on the night for you?
Wow. Look, I thought that Pieter-Steph du Toit, for me, was
Titanic, yeah.
Was my man of the match. He really made the yards, and he just seemed to be everywhere. I was disappointed for Roscoe because I think that he was wanting to get going as quickly. But it felt almost like the Georgians had done their homework on him and not so much on Fassi. And so they were cornering him as well. And I thought quite a nice composed performance from Willemse when he came on. He set up. I think there were a couple of times he could have maybe tried to force his way over, but in fact forced the next phase.
Yeah.
And tries came from it.
Yeah, it just looked good when we did play through the phases. Exactly, you could see that the layers were there. Let's round off very quickly. The Junior Boks unbeaten to take the tournament.
Wow,
superb.
Absolutely. And I mean, it was a nice physical encounter as well. I mean,
as you'd expect from Argentina.
Exactly. Yeah. Argentina weren't there for a haircut, and they were good to go. They pushed all the right buttons, and there was quite a bit of needle in it. But the lads, I thought, very composed. They knew they had a job to do, and they did just that.
Yeah, set the tone for the first international rugby we've seen in the better part of a year and a half. Well done to the Junior Boks. Then Currie Cup action continued with the Pumas. Just edging out the Griquas, 26-22. I think they're going to take that as a major...
Really feel like we called that one as well.
Yeah, major badge of honour there. And then, of course, no major surprises as Western Province beat the Sharks women and the Boland Dames beat... they went down to the Border Ladies, looking very strong as they work towards their final match. You stick around, buddy. Still got some footy to chat about. And the Formula One, which we called again. Well done.
Such good stuff there, gents, and so much action. And it's so good to see some new South African talent coming through there. Now, recently we also had a chat with you, Mzansi, and we asked you what your most delicious dishes were and what you've been cooking. And we absolutely, I must say, loved every single meal menu that you sent through. Now, one that really raised our eyebrow was Danielle Strubles, and it was suggested that a scrumptious chicken liver recipe go down in a peppery sauce, and that was with the superior quality of Clover fresh milk. And that's what we are about to cook right up for you for lunch. So we've got all the inspiration you need, and here to show us how it's done is the owner of Leo's Events and Catering. It's Chef Bert, and Leo is taking the lead in the kitchen. Chef Bert, how are you doing this morning?
I'm well, how are you doing?
Fantastic, man. I want to invite you to the family of Expresso. This is the first time you're in the kitchen, right?
Yes, it is.
And what do you think?
It's amazing, you know, it's a lovely experience for me, to be honest with you.
Especially early on a Monday morning, you never get this kind of energy anywhere else, man. So let's get to cooking, because we never have enough time to do this, but we can. And you're going to show us how. So where are we starting? What's the game plan?
Okay, so the game plan is to have a hot pan. We're going to add some butter to it.
All right.
So we can get it hot.
Ooh,
nice and hot.
And what is not good without butter, right?
Yeah.
I've stumped the chef there. Yes, one point for me. All right, what have you just chucked in there as well?
I just threw in the onions.
Okay.
We're just going to give the onions some color.
All right. And roughly, for the guys at home, how long would a process like this take? Is the pan pretty hot? I'd imagine it seems like it's
It was a bit too hot, yes. But, you know, it doesn't matter. As long as you get the aeration into it and it cools it down, so lifting it off the heat as well.
Right.
And you can put it down again. So
do we have to be able to do that flicker? Is that part of
you can use a spatula.
Is it going to taste better if we do that?
You never know. Okay, so while the onions is now going, so we've got some nice color onto it, we'll add some chicken livers to it.
Yeah, chicken livers. Now, I know this is quite an interesting food type, to be very honest with you. There's a mixed theories going around, but I know so many people down in our side of the world, down in SA, love livers, and there's so many different ways you can prepare liver, right?
Yeah, there's lots of ways.
If we didn't do it like the way you're doing now, what would you maybe suggest?
You know, to start all the basics, you will always have to have it in a hot pan with some onions, some garlic, and things like that. Always season it. But I like my chicken livers with some chili.
Okay.
Love it with chili. And I love doing a parfait as well, like a pate, and have it with some fresh bread.
I feel like you chefs have this like spicy thing in common. Chef Clem on the show, you know, he's a resident chef. He loves his spices.
Oh, we do.
If you heard you saying throw some chili in this, he'd be like, oh, I found a friend.
No, we love chili. No, spicy is the flavor of life anyway.
It is.
So yeah, it always just brings it up. It opens up the palate a little bit as well. So to allow more flavors in, while the chicken livers is getting some color onto it. So we like to toss pans.
I see this. This is something I need to master to get to these chef levels you guys are on. I love that.
We'll sprinkle some flour on.
Okay, now this is where I'm going to start watching you, because everything you've done so far is typically quite traditional. You're sauteing, you're browning your meat, but now we're going to do something interesting, and I see our hero ingredient might be coming into the party too,
Yes,
right?
our hero ingredient will be coming to the party. So this will be creating our sauce. The flour is the thickener of the dish. So everything will gel and emulsify nicely with each other. It creates a sauce.
So you're getting thickness from the flour, and then I would imagine the sauce elements being created from adding the milk. Okay. So we've got the full cream fresh milk, pasteurized by Clover right here. Obviously our hero ingredient, full of all the healthy nutritional value that you do need. And this is where I need to pay attention, because
so we just have to do is just add the milk.
So we're not making a liver breakfast. Milking, right? This is not a porridge.
This is not cereal, no. So as the flour cooks out, we'll thicken it out. And you can always adjust the seasoning. I like to add the garlic at the end of every dish that I make, because when you start too early with it, the garlic just disappears in flavor. So if you add it in towards the end, it will be there as well. And obviously a little bit of tasting throughout, just to make sure you season this right. So now with this all simmering, with the milk becoming thicker with the flour, you'll end up with a beautiful dish on.
Love this stuff. Now, guys, if you've just tuned in, shame on you, but don't worry, we got you covered. We've got this recipe on expressoshow.com. It's all the inspiration you need for lunchtime today and to get your meat craving on. We've just done something with liver over here, and Chef Burden showed us how. Man, I am absolutely impressed. It smells good. How long would it take eventually to get to that hero dish on the corner over there?
It shouldn't take too long. It should take about 10-15 minutes maximum. The whole dish to make should take you about 20 minutes.
It's actually pretty simple.
It's quite a simple dish to make.
I might try this this afternoon. Mzansi, let us know what you think, of course. But Can I say thank you so much for joining us this Monday morning. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the kitchen. We hope to see you soon. And there you go, guys. Expressoshow.com. You want this lunchtime recipe? Dig in.
Made with love by Clover. Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. It's Monday, and we are celebrating with some of our local champions. And we're talking about the 2021 Artistic Swimming Duo National Champions. It's Laura Strugnell and Clarissa Johnston. And they've just qualified to represent South Africa at the Tokyo Olympics this year. I'm so excited to chat to these champions. And they're the first synchronized swimming pair to represent the country in over 29 years. Now, over the past 18 months, they have come out of retirement, balanced full-time jobs with training, and faced challenges brought on by COVID-19, and they've successfully overcome it all and will be heading to Japan for the global showpiece. Now, Clarissa and Laura are joining us via video call to tell us more about their journey to the Olympics. Ladies, are you with us? Are you live?
Hi, yes.
I gotta say, before we do anything, the biggest round of applause ever from everybody in the crew. Congratulations! Woo-hoo-hoo! We're going to the Olympics! Now, before we get into it, because I don't know if I'm more hyped than you guys, I don't know how you feel, but I want to just take it back to the beginning. How did you guys get into synchronized swimming, and how long have you actually been doing this for?
So my name's Clarissa. I started when I was 11 at my new school, Durban Girls College, when my family moved there. And then I studied in the US and did it there. And then I stopped when I was about 24. And I thought I was done forever until Laura literally WhatsApped me last year. And she was like, hey, what would you say if I told you we can go to the Olympics? And that was when I was almost 30. So that's my story.
And hi, I'm Laura. I started when I was 5, and then I started competing when I was 6. And I've been doing it ever since until 2019. Then I thought they weren't sending a duet to the Olympics, so I decided to carry on with my career, and then found out that they were, and called Clarissa and was like, let's go to the Olympics.
I absolutely love that. Now, look, it's one thing trying to prepare yourself for the Olympics. I mean, people spend 4 years, maybe 8 years preparing for this moment, making so many sacrifices, and it means so much. But for you guys, what has this training journey been like? I mean, over the last 18 months, choosing to firstly come out of retirement, number one, and then spending hundreds, potentially thousands of hours in the pool. Talk us through this process, because it's not as easy as it even sounds.
No, that's so true. So I think my body was completely confused when I got back in the pool. I think it was like, I thought we were done with this. Then obviously, as soon as we started last year in Feb, there was the hard lockdown. So our training journey has been a super wide spectrum of stuff, from Zoom ballet, Zoom Pilates, then eventually getting back in the pool, flying back and forth from Cape Town and Johannesburg, where our coach was in Johannesburg. We've now relocated to live with her and her family. And then, yeah, our training itself is like 6 hours a day. So it's a large volume of training, that type of sport, very similar to like a triathlon or Ironman.
Yeah, it's really crazy to me because you're not just swimming in the pool. I mean, like you mentioned now, you've got Pilates, yoga, mobility, strength, conditioning. It's like 500 multifaceted sports put into one, and then you need to go and perform to perfection. So that being said, right, talk us through this qualification, the 2020 Tokyo Olympic qualification. How does this feel? I mean, for so many people, this is such a huge dream, something that genuinely never materializes. And for the small percentage of people in the world, for you guys especially, not only doing this, but also for the first time as a swimming pair to represent South Africa in 29 years in this discipline. I mean, this is huge, guys. Everyone in the studio is like, what? This is just, what is this feeling even like? I mean, this is your moment to share it because we all just want to know, what does this mean to you both?
I think it's still a little bit unreal. I think until we get there, it's going to feel real. And especially with all the uncertainty of COVID, it's been a bit difficult. But for our sport, it means it's huge. I mean, I think you guys didn't really know that there was synchronized swimming in South Africa. A lot of people haven't known that there is this sport. And yeah, I think we're really stoked.
Yeah, it's really important as well. Like, I mean, we are 29 and 30, so we spent our whole lives not seeing anyone from our country go to the Olympics for the sport we did. So it's really important for future generations for them to see the South African flag on the TV and say, well, if someone from my country did it, then I can also do it.
I love that. There's no excuse whatsoever. Even if you're coming out of retirement, no matter what age you are, you can still live that dream. And you guys are doing exactly that. Now, this is, like we said, not an easy task. I imagine, obviously, we're speaking about the sacrifices you've made along the way. COVID-19 has presented so many obstacles. Who's been the people in your corner that have gotten you to this point? Because I know this is really something that you can't always do on your own. You need a massive team behind you. Who are those people in your lives that have helped you get to this point?
Sure. There's so many. I'm scared if we list them individually, we'll forget some. But definitely, our coach and her family, the Drinkwaters, I mean, we live with them. We're in their daughter's ballet studio right now. We've had a lot of other extra coaches that have helped us on the side as well in Cape Town, coaches from overseas, from other countries who've just seen our journey and have literally said, like, how can we help you? And then, of course, our friends and family as well. You know, just being there when things are difficult or supporting us, being excited. It's been tough. No one will be able to come to Tokyo, and they weren't able to come to our qualifier in the Eastern Cape. But I mean, that's what's so great about like Instagram and the internet. People have still been able to live our journey with us virtually.
Yeah, and I mean, we get the blessed opportunity of chatting to you guys right now and sharing this with them, Mzansi. But look, ladies, I just want to say again, from everybody out in the studio, congratulations. I mean, honestly, I don't even think that word can really encompass what this means, but I want to say thank you for doing you, for putting all that God-given talent that you've been blessed with to create something magic like this, and for also inspiring the rest of Mzansi. I think there's going to be so many girls and boys out there that look at you guys and realize, we can do this. This is possible, especially after what we've just come through. You guys have literally painted the picture of what is possible. So thank you for being you, and congratulations once again, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, these women are absolute inspiration. Now, we've got so much more inspiration coming at you right after this, and you do not want to go anywhere. We're celebrating champions. Stick around.
We are celebrating champions. Were you going to the Olympics there in your head? Where were you, hey?
Yeah.
It's coming, baby.
It's like, wow.
I was just thinking about coming back from retirement and you're still only in your 30s. I love it when people talk about like themselves like they're old when they're still in their 30s or in their 20s. That's absolutely crazy. No, ladies, we are behind you 100%.
Oh, come on.
Come on. Now, we're going to love this Olympics, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yep. We're loving the sport that's on right now. We've been loving a beautiful West Indian tour. Why? Because we've won. We won the Test Series, we won the T20s, and it was close. I think every match seems to have been in the 160s odd,
Yes.
which is pretty competitive total. We put ourselves, Temba put us into bat first. Clearly the right choice if you're winning, but the right choice because our batsmen are now laying that foundation. We're getting the partnerships, putting runs on the board. The Proteas should feel good.
Yeah, and I mean, Quinton de Kock is just on a run of form like I don't think I've seen, all due respect to him, I don't think I've seen that kind of run of form for ages.
Guess who's back?
Yes, exactly.
Back again, clearly in the right
And we were saying on
space,
Friday, I mean, we like patting ourselves on the back, but I mean, we were saying on Friday, if he could find maybe one or two other batsmen just to bat with him, you know, the ability to post a score, a defendable score, would be so much greater. And enter Aiden Markram, thanks for coming, and there we go, winning by 20-odd runs.
Yeah, man of the match. Well, you talk winning by 20-odd runs, it means the bowlers had to hold their nerve, in particular Lungi and Giddy. Let's take a look at that winning moment.
South Africa.
Ah, beautiful stuff. David Miller, we probably wanted a bit more from.
Yeah.
I think he's the guy who should be closing out innings. But in terms of that bowling attack, let's be honest, they took some stick, Rabada and Giddy, but that's what T20 is about being able to kind of marshal the mental game, knowing that you're probably going to go for runs and still bowl when you need it and do it at the death.
You know, there's this old adage in cricket, I think mostly, but in sport generally, is that in this particular sport, the bowlers, they hunt in packs.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing. We're starting to see a new bowlers union forming there. And if they can just manage their injuries, manage their workload, and try to stick together, you know, it's a good handover between the pace and the seam into the spin.
2020, it's given us some amazing matchups, it's given us some surprises, and it's given us a reason just to hope, just maybe, that this could be the year where the Lions do it. And I'm not talking about those Lions, I'm talking about the other three Lions.
The three Lions, yeah.
Let's work our way back. Ukraine 0, England 4. There was maybe some talk about worries of the defensive setup of England. Yeah, they've got in spades attacking ability up front, but so far the defence has held up and looked good.
Yeah, and as you say, the question mark was not only around that defence, was the ability to score goals. Harry Kane started the tournament slowly, but when he started scoring in the previous game, you know, it was always a bad sign for the next opponents. And now he's helped himself to 2 more. And it does give England just so much forward momentum and confidence up front.
Yeah, you've got to see them as finalists now moving forward. But can we doff our caps, as we do on the show, to Raheem Sterling? Has been involved. He's either scored or he's been present. He's had a standout tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he came in for quite a bit of flack in terms of that very first team selection. And wow, he's put that one to bed in no uncertain terms.
Denmark beating the Czech Republic. Slightly nervy win there, but the match of the weekend, undoubtedly for us, was Italy up against Belgium. That could have been a final on any other given day, especially looking at the team makeup on that Belgian side. But Italy have done it, and it's now you've got to think it's going to be difficult for any team to beat them in that final.
They're looking solid. They've had to play some big games, some tough games, and whilst England have won 4-0, I think that Italy will go into their next game and potentially into the final with bucket loads of confidence.
So let's talk about that next game. Italy up against Spain.
That's a final on its own.
It really is. The Spanish side clearly has a point to prove as well. This Italian side, so much has been said about them. They've done brilliantly throughout qualification, throughout the tournament. Where do you see that going?
Wow, look, I mean, I fancy Italy to go all the way. In fact, all the way to that trophy. That's what I fancy. And, I mean, Spain, not without its fair share of big winners and stars and guys who know exactly what the big moment's all about.
Yeah.
Exactly, but I really fancy Italy. So that would be my team to win that particular encounter and go to the final.
Yeah, and I'll fancy England going through against Denmark. An Italian-English final. I think that's what we're saying. You can let us know how you feel. Expresso Show is the hashtag to use. Who's going to make it through to the Euro 2020 finals? And then we'll do one last capped off to Max Verstappen. 3 from 3. He took the Austrian Grand Prix. We thought that he would. Wow. And he is looking on fire at the moment. Just no answer from the Mercedes at this stage, although they did make it onto the podium. But Lando Norris rounding off that podium. So another brilliant ride from a brilliant young driver. Man, has the field opened up this year.
If you eat, sleep and dream of baking, enter for the Tastemaster SA's new season starting in August on SABC2. Grow your career in TV and as a baking influencer and stand to win 50,000 rands worth of prizes. To apply to compete on the show, share a video of you baking a wonder you've created with tried and trusted Royal Baking Powder. Upload your video and complete your application on the tastemaster.co.za website. Entries close Wednesday, 7th July. T's and C's apply.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. Of course, it's Monday, and you know what that means. We get to entertain you with a beautiful gospel voice. And our singer and songwriter Simone Boyson is joining us in the Expresso studio floor to perform her original track, Depths of Our Love. Now, the song talks about finding who you are once you've experienced the unfathomable depths of God's love. Now, the impact of this amazing experience causes us to be open to what God wants us to do in our lives. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Simone Boyson with Depths of Our Love.
Come on, South Africa, are you ready to get ready with us today? Come on, come on, come on, come on. I am found doing what you made me to do, expressing all my praises to you. No one captures my heart like you do, like you do. Your love, like nothing I've ever known. It's a feeling I can't ignore. My cup now it overflows, overflows. Eyes open, stepping into light. Your love reveals who I am again. Hearts open, chasing after you. I surrender into the depths of your love. Your love. Your love. Like nothing I've ever known. It's a feeling I can't ignore. My cup now it overflows, overflows. Eyes open, stepping into light. Your love reveals who I am again. Hearts open, chasing after you. And I surrender into the depths of your love. Your love. Your
Simone Boyson in the building. That's how you kickstart your Monday, and don't be upset because we've got more of this magic coming for you straight after this. But we're going to find out what's happening in the news first with Jamie Lee Domberg, and then more of this magic will be coming soon later. Wow, that was magic.
Thank you so much, Geraldo Morne. The time now is 7 o'clock. Time to have a second look at those news headlines. Starting with your local news, the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority this weekend authorized the Sinovac CoronaVac vaccine. The vaccine is manufactured by Sinovac Life Sciences, a Chinese national pharmaceutical group. Now, the regulatory authority has reduced the time taken to register medicines from 20 months to less than 3 months. A consignment of the Sinovac CoronaVac vaccine is likely to arrive in the country by the end of the month. Sinovac CoronaVac is a double-dose vaccine for people aged between 18 and 59, and the doses will be administered between 14 to 28 days apart. And then the Constitutional Court will hear former President Jacob Zuma's urgent application to rescind its order sentencing him to jail for 15 months for contempt of court next Monday. The Court issued these directions on Saturday after Zuma had made the application on Friday. Yesterday, Zuma thanked hundreds of supporters who had gathered at his home in Nkandla in northern KwaZulu-Natal for supporting him in his appeal against his sentence. Zuma spoke in Zulu with regards to this. And then looking to news further abroad, search efforts for possible survivors in the rubble of a partially collapsed apartment block in Miami, USA, have been suspended ahead of the controlled demolition of the rest of the building. Now, the remaining structure will be brought down using explosives. Part of the 12-story block collapsed on the 24th of June. 24 people are known to have died and 121 are still missing. No survivors have been pulled from the rubble at the site since the first few hours after the structure's collapse. Then staying with the international news as well, a delegation from the Southern African Development Community, the SADC, met with the Eswatini government yesterday amid ongoing lethal protests in the country. The SADC Troika was led by Botswana's Minister of International Affairs and Cooperation, Lemogang Kwape. South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Naledi Pandor, was also present. Eswatini has seen violent protests with looting and businesses set alight since last week. Demonstrators are calling for multi-party democracy in Africa's last absolute monarchy. And then some news from around the globe. After Americans celebrate their 4th of July Independence Day, there are usually reports of pets affected by the fireworks. Now, such was the case in South Carolina when Mary Lynn Whitaker and Ryan Washik's pooch Raja, a rescue dog, ran off after being spooked by fireworks. Now, they'd only been in their home for about a month and were gravely concerned she wouldn't find her way back. But the couple searched unsuccessfully for more than 7 hours. Then, at around 3 a.m., the doorbell rang, and lo and behold, it was Raja. Somehow she'd figured how to operate the doorbell. Now, a dumbfounded Mary Lynn said she had no idea where the 18-month-old pooch could have learned to do so because she and Ryan hardly ever use it. Mary Lynn reckons Raja may have seen someone else press it. Now, a CCTV video of Raja pressing the doorbell with her nose went viral in a few hours, and we can understand why. Cuteness overload. On that cute note, that is where I leave your 7 a.m. news headlines. I'll be back on the top of the hour. Here is G with a second look at the sports.
Thanks so much, Amy. Let's bring you a quick sporting synopsis, if you will, starting with cricket. The Proteas recorded a 25-run victory over the West Indies. That was in their 5th and final T20 international match at the National Cricket Stadium in Grenada to clinch the series 3-2. Themba Bavuma won the toss and elected to bat first as South Africa went on to post 168 for 4 with Aiden Markram, the man of the match, contributing 70 from just 48 deliveries, and Quinton de Kock smashing 60 from only 42 balls to continue his form. So the Windies failing to reach their target, finishing on 143 for 9 as the Proteas clinch that series win. Then on to rugby. The Springboks started their preparations for the upcoming British and Irish Lions Test series with an impressive 49 victory over Georgia at Loftus Versfeld on Friday. The Boks held a 19-9 lead at half-time with debutant winger Apelele Fassi scoring the opening try for the home side with his first touch of the ball. And Jacques Nineveh's side eventually ran in 6 tries to none, showing resolve and patience throughout the match. South Africa will face Georgia in a second encounter in Pretoria again this coming Friday at 7 p.m. Then on the flip side of that coin, the British and Irish Lions got their Lions series off to a winning start with an impressive 56-14 win over the Sigma Lions at the Emirates Airline Park in Johannesburg on Saturday. Wales wing Louis Rees-Zammit scoring a 4th-minute try, also on debut, and Josh Adams scoring 4 tries on the night to guide the team to victory. So the British and Irish Lions will now take on the Sharks this coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. and then, of course, face the Springboks in the first of 3 tests starting on the 24th of July. Then staying with Springbok rugby, the junior Boks kept a clean sheet and made it 4 wins in 4 matches with a 27-9 victory over Argentina. That was in their final match of their Under-20 International Series at a very wet Newland Stadium on Saturday. Okay, Andre Hugo Fentas secured the win for the junior Boks over the Los Blumitas with 2 more tries in the final 15 minutes of the match. In the first game of the day, Georgia beat Uruguay 29 to finish their campaign on a winning note as well. Then high-stakes football this weekend. Denmark, England, Italy and Spain have all confirmed their spots in the Euro 2020 semi-finals. So we start on Saturday as Harry Kane struck twice as England thrashed Ukraine 4-0, and then Denmark edged out the Czech Republic 2-1 in their quarter-final clashes. Then on Friday night, Nicolo Barella and Lorenzo Insigne, they guided Italy to a 2-1 win over a very strong Belgium side. And then after a 1-1 draw, Spain beat Switzerland 3-1 in a nervy penalty shootout to advance to the last 4 as well. So Italy will face Spain in the first semi-final tomorrow, and then England will take on Denmark for a place in that final, and their encounters on Wednesday evening, both matches kicking off at 9 p.m. And then finally onto motorsport. He's done the hat-trick. Red Bull's Max Verstappen made it 3 wins on the trot from pole position in the Austrian Grand Prix yesterday. Verstappen finishing ahead of Mercedes' Valtteri Bottas and McLaren's Lando Norris. 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton finished just outside of the podium positions in 4th place. So Verstappen now has a 32-point table lead at the top of that table over Hamilton, and he sits on 182 points at the moment. And that's where we leave our sport for now. Let's get another take on our morning weather.
Thank you so much, G-Man. We'll start with your international weather news first. Now, while Canada is battling scores of wildfires, Cyprus has appealed for more international help to tackle an enormous wildfire described by officials as a tragedy and the worst in the country's history. Greece and Israel have already deployed firefighting aircraft to the Mediterranean island. The blaze, fanned by strong winds, has in the meantime forced the evacuation of many villages and is now threatening a national forest park. At least 4 people have so far succumbed to the fire. A 67-year-old man has been arrested on the suspicion that he started the blaze. Now, Cyprus has been experiencing a week-long blistering heat wave with temperatures reaching up to 40 degrees Celsius. Experts say that climate change is expected to increase the frequency of extreme weather events such as heat waves. And then keeping it in Cyprus, we thought we would learn a little bit more about the island nation. Now officially known as the Republic of Cyprus, it is an island located in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, as well as the 3rd most populous island in the Med. Now, a crazy fact about the island is that the earliest known human activity dates back to around the 10th millennium BC. Now, Cyprus has one of the warmest climates in the Med, with annual temperatures averaging around 24 degrees Celsius during the day at the coast. Now, your Monday ahead will be filled with sunshine, reaching a maximum of 35 degrees Celsius. Next, we bring it back to the South African shores as we send a huge thanks to all of our amazing local viewers for sharing the gorgeous sunrise photos with us this morning. Pat Anderson from Amanzimtoti shared this stunning view overlooking the ocean, showing off some pink hues along the horizon. Another one came through from Prasio Mas from Kwamplanga, also showing off this great photo captured as the sun comes up. Again, please do continue to share your sunrise photos with us on the Expresso Facebook page. We love seeing how you start your day. But right now, here is a second look at the temperatures for today. We start off with you, Polokwane. Do expect a low of 10 today, peaking at 20. If you find yourself in Umbombela, expect a range of 14 to 19. Pretoria, for you, it is a minimum of 10 and a maximum of 23. And for Johannesburg, it is 7:20. Mahikeng, 6:25. Klerksdorp coming through with a low of 4 and a high of 20. And then Kimberley can be seen with -3 and a maximum of 16. Bloemfontein as well, -3 with a high of 19. And in Richards Bay, do expect some rain coming your way today. That ranges from 12 to 19. Pietermaritzburg as well, rain coming your way with a 30% chance of rain with a range of 10 to 15. And then South Africa's playground at Durban ranges from 15 to 18. Mthatha, for you, it is 1:18. East London, 8:19. And then Craddock with a low of 0 and a high of 14. Gqeberha, 6:18. George, for you, it is 5:17. And if you do find yourself in the mother city, Cape Town today, do expect a low of 8 and a high of 16. Worcester, 2:17. Sutherland, -3 and a high of 11. So grab your coats if you're going out on the road today. And then last but definitely not least, Uppington ranges from 2 to 20. Well, that is where I leave your weather here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
We're getting into the chats here, man. Yeah. The FIFA E-World Cup is probably the biggest stage when it comes to esports, and we're going to chat to two gents who have qualified.
You got
Julio,
the beast in the
beast,
building.
He's actually an accountant. Don't let it fool you, man. He is a beast. And then we're going to have Mohamed Diop on the line as well. Get into their incredible path to what I have to assume has got to be one of the biggest opportunities in all of esports. Stick around.
Care is bringing passion to everything you do.
Proving good taste and good values go hand in hand.
Care is what goes into every single cup of Nespresso.
Made with care. Hecho con cuidado.
Nespresso. What else?
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Back, beautiful souls. It's Monday and we're still talking about all the incredible sporting events that are taking place, and one that we can look forward to this year, and one of them that is definitely needing to be on the top of that list is the FIFA E-World Cup final, which is taking place in August. Now, believe it or not, we've got the beast in the building once again. It's Julio Beast Bianchi, and he's the first, just listen to this, this is insane, the first African player to qualify for the FIFA E-World Cup final. And we're also connecting with a fellow contender, Mohamed Diop, who is all the way from South Africa. Well, he's got South African roots, but he's tuning in from, I think, the States right now. And we're getting chat to both of these gentlemen on this incredible event coming up. Lads, how are you doing?
No, I'm great to be here, honestly. Yeah, just love chatting to you guys.
And Mohamed, you still there? You online?
Of course. Tuning in from Joburg, actually. I'm back home.
Oh, you just...
Brilliant,
thankfully.
man.
That's just flying everywhere.
I'm so glad. I know you're based in the US and, but we're going to claim you as South African, bro.
Yeah.
We're going to claim you as South African. But congratulations to both of you. This is no mean feat. Just getting a bit of background in terms of that qualification part. This is intense, man. Maybe I can start with you, Julio. Bit of a week you were having. Nothing like writing your final exams for accountancy and qualifying for the FIFA E-World Cup. But you did it. Did you think you could, looking at how slim the chances were?
Yeah, obviously I always back myself when I compete. My goal is always to win. But I'm obviously leading up to such a difficult week. I knew it would be challenging. But it's all about balance, and I managed to do that. So I was happy to qualify, obviously.
Sure.
Wow, I love the fact he's not just like the stereotypical gamer. The man's busy getting his distinctions in his third year of accounting. I mean, come on, how's that for balance? Mohammed, let me put this question to you, though. I mean, I'm just still trying to wrap my head around exactly where you are. I'm figuring you're in Joburg now, but you represent the States. You're flying all over the world. You're from South Africa. Where did you grow up exactly, and what brought you all the way to the States? What's happening?
So I grew up here in Johannesburg, of course. I grew up here all my life. I moved here when I was 1 year old, being in South Africa till I finished high school, basically. And after that, I decided with my parents to move to the USA to pursue my studies. And as I was pursuing my studies, I had the passion for FIFA, competing against the likes of Julio, Young Savage, Kalen, Shian, all of these people. And that passion now became something even more there in the US.
Oh, it's incredible, man.
And now you're knocking on the door. I mean, this is top-tier competition, and I know that the margins, I mean, a lot of the competitors out there will have sports psychologists working with them. You know, they've got teams of people around them because the level of competition, just the fast twitch action that you've got to kind of foster in yourself. But outside of this, you both seem pretty driven individuals. You made it onto Forbes Africa 30 under 30 class of 2021. Why do you think that was? What is it about you, as you think about your own brand and what you are trying to achieve?
Yeah.
What are you getting right at the moment, bro?
Yeah, my goal has always been to inspire those in my area where I'm from. You know, these things don't happen in my area. I see violence and crime every single day, but it's always been a goal of mine to motivate, encourage and inspire kids coming up and kids that want to pursue a career in esports, to show them that it is indeed possible, that anything is possible, and I've been living my dream. So, yeah.
Is this the career goal now? Accountancy or esports? Surely the prize money on this level now has got to...
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have to choose soon, but while I'm here, I'm going to make the best of both.
I love that.
Yeah, hopefully South Africa will have a world champ soon.
Yes, man.
Please. Yes. Now, gee, speaking of prize money, I mean, if I look at this competition, it's happening the 6th to the 8th of August, right? There's somewhat of $500,000 US, which I think works out to like 1.5 million rand or more. I don't even know. The math is crazy, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Tell me more about your strategy. I mean, this is possibly one of the biggest events of both you and Mohammed's career. Mohammed, I'll maybe ask you this question as well, but what is the game plan going into this? I mean, what's the strategy really going to be? How do you approach this? Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously 32 of the best players in the world, 16 on PlayStation, 16 on Xbox. So you know, to compete at this level, it's the pinnacle of FIFA esports, you know. So we have to be at the best of our game. We have to play like every game is a final, and hopefully just enjoy it. You know, showcase what we can do, and hopefully we'll make everyone proud.
Mohammed, Julio is saying he's going to win this thing. How are you feeling? What is your mindset going into the tournament, and how do you approach something like this? Is there a game-by-game strategy? Do you look at the overall picture and say, okay, for this competitor, for this opponent, I need to focus on this? How do you approach a big tourney like this?
Definitely. As Julio said, this is the biggest moment in our career. We're going to face up against the best players in the world from everywhere around the world, whether that is South America, Europe, Asia, Oceania, everywhere. So at the end of the day, we have to give our 150% in order to pull out the result. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go in with confidence, and we're going to go in for South Africa and the whole of Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, baby. Who's your money on for Euros 2020, bro?
Euros 2020, my team, France, got knocked out. So I have to say it's coming home.
Love it, man. Love it. Buddy, thank you so much for sharing this inspiration. Like you said, there's not a lot of kids from your neck of the woods achieving this. And now all that's left, dude, is what? Win the tournament.
100%.
Yes, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been a great privilege and honor to be here.
What a legend, man. Oh, man, well, we might just be able to goad him into a game or two a little bit later. I know Ryle is itching to do that. In fact, I think this morning there is quite a competitive edge to all of our segments this morning, Jamie.
Absolutely, G. You know what I want to know is why the 5-second game isn't an Olympic sport. I don't know. I don't think we know that why. But OK, that's not going to stop us because we have two people that is very competitive this morning. We have number one, Zaddy, Mr. Graham Richards, and the Muscle Mountain Man, Mr. Nature Boy himself, Raldo Mornay, shooting for gold this morning. Team? Are you ready to shoot your shot this morning?
OG here. This man's got experience in the game.
Yeah, man. I've been training my frontal cortex already.
Listen, your theme is all about sports this morning, and you are fighting for, obviously, the ultimate trophy. Yeah, oh my
Peanut butter rush. I like this variant as well.
I need to take this seriously because sport is like G's forte, and I need to step up here.
Yeah, man. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Game face is on?
Okay,
Let's do this. This is for Omar.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone.
Name 3 sports that need a ball.
A ball. Cricket, soccer, rugby.
There we go, just like that.
Okay, nicely done.
Good.
Off to a good start.
I'm honestly nervous.
Yeah, man, this is quite a tense one. It feels more competitive than normal.
This is not a game.
It's the energy around here.
Right.
G, name 3 water sports.
You're swimming, obviously, water polo, skiing.
Ooh, that's good. Raul, name 3 sports in the Olympics.
In the Olympics, it's sports. Netball, football, and...
Wow.
That's shocking, G.
Hey, that is shocking. What happened?
Did you false start? There was a false start.
If it was events, and then I realised you asked me sport, and that was a little bit of a spanner, actually.
It was quite surprising that you asked him sport when you'd said the whole theme was sport. I think that took him by surprise.
Shame.
Understandable.
Graham, name 3 sports that women play.
Tennis, artistic swimming now, and table tennis.
You were close. That was like 1 second away.
But it is. I understand what you're saying, because suddenly you're like, is it an Olympic sport?
Yeah.
You guys don't sound very confident today, and
We're just taking it seriously. It seriously.
This is on. Raul, back to you. Name 3 things you can find on a tennis court.
On a tennis court, a racket, clay, grass, and you can find some of the tennis balls that have fallen after the game.
Wow, you also have to explain yourself.
Just want to make sure.
Jeet Zaddy, name 3 things a swimmer would wear.
A swimming cap, goggles, and a Speedo.
Yo, that's like the only 3 things they actually can wear.
If they're wearing anything else, I'd be interested to know what it is.
It's sport to watch or something, you know? I don't know.
No, that's just slow you down, drag, Vaseline. I don't know.
Nature Boy, back to you. Name 3 snacks to eat whilst watching a sports match.
Watching a sports... popcorn, samosas, and grapes for the health, the health enthusiasts.
The samosas,
You went with nice finger food there. That was good.
So it's small. All like canapes, and I've got alternatives for vegan, health, and a little bit of a binge as well. You get an extra point for that. I cater for the people, Jamie.
Okay. G-Man, name 3 sports...
Vegetable...
Yes, okay, obviously.
Okay.
Just to make sure,
Bake, not fried. Bake, not fried.
G, name 3 sports Omas love to watch.
Wow.
Tennis, bowls, and curling. I know it's a winter sport.
Is that the one where you speak guys? I love that.
As an Oma, I would love to watch the 2 of you do that sport.
That was pretty good form, eh?
Definitely. Okay, this is the last round. Game face is on again.
You just clear the ice.
Ryle. Woo!
Wow.
Whoa.
Now I'm excited. All right. Now you got my attention.
Ryle, show us 3 muscles on your body in 5 seconds.
Okay, abs, an oblique, and glutes. The clothes, I can't do anything else.
You promised us the black and white Speedo. We're still waiting for that. I think that's why I put that.
Space of Zanzi.
I think that's why I put that question
With the zip.
I'm joking. That wasn't actually the question. That was just for my entertainment.
You were laughing at yourself coming up with a funny joke.
Yeah,
Lost as a dog.
Guys, come on, you already know this.
Well played, Jamie.
Okay, last one, G-Ren.
Well
Going to
played.
VAR. That was going to VAR.
G, this is also for my entertainment. Show us how many squats you can do in 5 seconds. Go.
Oh!
One.
Can you say, I did them so fast.
Was that a squat or a twerk?
That's 20, wait. It's all about that foundation training now. You've got to, don't pivot the back, feel it in the glutes.
I don't think any of you deserve the trophy today.
Oh, what do you
Really?
mean?
I
We
think you can share
twerked for
it.
you. We cleared the ice for you. Come on.
Is there a winner? You know what?
Come on.
Do you know what? Gee, you really had me.
Yeah,
but
no.
I mean, come on,
I think
how can
anyone-
I go?
Yes.
Anyone.
Yes.
Anyone who shows
I'm not
their
even going to
abs.
touch it. I'm not even going to touch
Okay.
it to hand it to you.
Just
Shocking.
because they are still they're struggling to decide the winner, I think, again, for 10 points.
Glutes, man. Glutes.
Please show the muscles on your body in 5 seconds and go.
1 ab, 2 abs, 3 abs, and bicep. I don't know.
I still think you could have shown your glutes, man.
You are welcome,
Come on.
Zanzi. You are welcome. And whilst we are aiming for gold this morning, on Friday, we will also finally announce the lucky winner who will walk away with a premium Smeg hamper worth 12,000 Rand.
Wow.
So if you have entered any of the Omar Russ competitions during the last few weeks, then your name might be the one called out. So make sure you catch the live draw on Friday. And who knows, maybe Raul de Mornay will show us again some of his muscles. Okay?
Zip speedo.
Any time is dipping time when it's with the ones you love.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show on S3. Now, we're not just all about Raul's muscles this morning. We also have a great recipe for you, the perfect dinner or maybe a lunch meal that is not only easy to prepare, but easy on the budget too. Now, these stuffed barbecue sweet potatoes are filled with tender, smoky shredded beef, cheese, and topped with sour cream. Yummy! Now, if you want to turn this recipe into a meatless Monday meal, feel free to maybe swap out the beef for mushrooms or cooked lentils, but Chef Burton is here to show us exactly how to get this recipe. Hey!
Hi there, good morning.
You are feeding us this morning. I mean, liver. This sounds amazing and sounds so yummy.
Well, it's quite easy. So all we need to do is obviously brown our meat first. So we have seasoned it with salt and pepper already, and we're just browning it in the pot. And then we're going to add some tomato paste now to it.
Yeah, all the flavors coming, because I'm sure this is where you're packing the flavors. Obviously,
This is how we
eat, right?
Yeah, fortifying the flavors that's going through. Okay?
So you said you put some tomato paste in?
Yes, it's the thickener and a binder.
Love that, love that.
We're going to add some smoked paprika.
Which is my favorite. I love paprika with everything.
And here's my favorite, some cumin.
And let me guess, the next one is with coriander.
That's correct.
How did I know? Because that too literally is like a match made in heaven. I always know if cumin goes in, coriander will follow shortly.
Yes. We're going to add the barbecue basting sauce, the smoky barbecue basting sauce.
And I love that the option is for meatless-free Mondays, because I know everyone's trying to be a bit more conscious these days, trying to, you know, take out meat at least once a week or twice a week. So this is perfect. Some mushrooms will also do great, like I said.
Mushrooms, yeah, definitely.
Lentils.
There's some amazing mushrooms out there you can use with amazing packed full of flavors. We're going to add some beef stock.
Beef stock?
Beef stock.
Love that.
And now we're just going to let this simmer. This will simmer for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, just so that the meat is tender. Okay.
And I think that the barbecue basting will also complement the tomato paste well, because normally when you put tomato paste in, it can be quite tangy, so you need something sweet just to balance out those flavors.
Just to balance it out. Okay, so while that's going, so this will take about 45 minutes, we're going to move over to what's our next step, which would be to scoop out the roasted sweet potatoes.
Okay, perfect. And I'm already a big fan of sweet potatoes right now, obviously just being also carb conscious. So we're gonna scoop that out. Try not to break the casing over there.
Try not to break it. Keep your hand.
There we go. You can grab one as well. And then just scoop this out nicely. So this is obviously how that mixture will look. You can see nice and tender.
Yeah, the shredded beef. And so we're just going to add some sweet potato. We try not to damage the casing and keep a little bit of the sweet potato in as well. I mean, it's just to keep the casing nice and strong. So.
Well, you should have told me that before I scooped everything out. Okay, now I know, so we'll do that. And one more.
One more.
We'll do one more. And nice and deep. Let's get a good hole in there so we can fill that casing up with all of this beef in there. And I think that should be good, right?
That's perfect. So from here, we've got our shredded meat, which we are finished braising. We're going to add some cheese to it.
Okay.
And then we're just going to give it a good mashing.
Perfect. So did we boil the sweet potatoes?
We roasted it in the oven at about 180 until tender.
Okay.
So it's nice and soft though.
Yeah.
So.
And I like that the skin actually has a nice little crunch to it as well. Because some people don't eat it. And I love it. I think that's where the flavor is packed. You eat it all together.
Eat everything together, yeah. So it's got a lot of flavor into it, and also it's the vessel that holds it.
There we go. So we're making you work today, mashing it all in. Okay, so now the next part is to scoop it back in.
So we just take a little bit.
Got it. And obviously this one, which you need to leave some of your sweet potato in. I am just going to fill it up and then try to get more of that sweet potato back in here. Love it. And this cheese is obviously going to melt in here, and it's just going to be so yummy.
Yes, if you're like me, I like lots of cheese, so I'll end up putting more cheese on top of it as well.
Oh, look at you. Yeah, no, that's amazing. Whatever floats your boat. Okay, and we'll just do the last one, and then you can decorate it with some more cheese. And voila. Okay, wait. Let's make it look pretty.
Pretty. Rustic is always better.
There we go, Chef Burton.
So we garnish with a little bit of cheese on top. And then from here into the oven, 10, 15 minutes to get nice and hot again and for the cheese to melt. And that's it. And then you'll end up with a beautiful...
I think it's so perfect. Let me just pop it into the oven right here. And you said 15 minutes, and then we will have deliciousness. So that goes in. And then turn it.
Yeah.
Could be a meat-free Monday. Of course, ExpressoShow.com is where you can get your hands on the recipe and ingredients list. And just look at that. Look at that. A perfect dinner, perfect lunch. And Bob's your uncle. You're welcome, South Africa.
Thank you.
Oh, now we're talking about champions, talking about good food, but we have to put the mouth, well, what is that saying? You put your money where your mouth is, right? We're going to do just that right now. I'm here with the Beast, Julia, obviously one of the competitors representing SA at the FIFA E World Cup happening in August. It's the world champions all across the world. The best players are going to go down and play this game over here. We're just starting ours now. I've got my boys, Liverpool. Julia, you're using PSG. Is this a team that you'd use in the actual tournament itself as well?
Yeah, so I like to go with Neymar and Mbappe, you know, the best players. If it's not them, I'll go with Ronaldo. So, yeah, definitely.
So does that mean you prefer to take a player and showboat sort of some skills through before you're scoring as well?
Yeah, that's my style. I like to, you know, mix it up a little bit. You know, sometimes I prefer to play fast pace. Sometimes I slow the game down. But when I get in and around the danger area, I like to use my skill moves.
And I mean, it's not just about playing the game. And I mean, we can start right now, but there's more to this. So there's strategies, there's team formations.
100%.
You're on the counter or you're defending. How does it work for you, especially in a big tournament like this? Do you have a specific style or you're just kind of waiting to react?
Yeah, so obviously I rely on my attacking ability because, you know, I used to be a footballer myself, a striker. So
So you got that striking mentality in you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So I trust myself in front of the box. But I tend to play with 2 strikers up front at all times, you know, just to give me another option.
Okay.
And then when I defend, I like to press high and put my opponent under pressure, basically.
Okay. So right now, myself and the beast are going at it. He's got PSG. He's literally not... I haven't touched the ball yet. It seems like his midfield control is... super... Keeper in the house. But it seems like I might need to change my strategy here in my formation and try to go for like a 10-man defender situation and 1 striker right now.
Surely not.
And I see what you mean. What I'm trying to really focus on is trying to get away from your tickety. The man's got to... Ooh, here we go, boys. Here we go. Whoa. Something's happening. Sorry, guys. I need to concentrate now against the world champion. Oh, I almost scored. That's why I had to be quiet there. You don't get these moments very often when you're going against a champ like this. But already he's coming on a big counter. He's made me push up on the field. All my strikers and most of my midfield were all stuck in my half, or his half actually. Now he's countering. He's got like 6 strikers and midfielders almost right up in the box. Come on! Okay, it's fine. So it's only because I'm talking. It's the only reason you score. But the man just playing around. And this is something that you often do. I notice in the box as well, you have these definitive opportunities to score, and you literally just switch the ball and woof, everyone's sold, and then you have a wide opportunity to goal. Is that a common strat for you as well?
Yeah, of course. I expect people to defend at the highest level, you know. Best defenders. We're playing against top-tier players, so you need to make sure that you score and make sure of your chances, especially with a game of small margins like we're playing. So hopefully, I'll be able to take my chances and bring it home for us.
And scorelines, I'd imagine, when it gets so competitive. I mean, you and I are going to be playing now, probably end up being like a 10-0 affair. Maybe I get a goal, I don't know. But what is it more or less like when it comes to such a competitive zone? I mean, goals don't come that often, right?
Yeah, it's tight, honestly. It can come down to 1 chance, you know, a lucky chance. It can come down to a mistake. So at this level, you can't afford to make any mistakes, you know. You need to be at the top of your game. And
literally almost concentrating like you on the field.
100%.
You every single player as well. I mean, I right now feel like I'm actually physically getting exhausted because it feels like I'm actually playing the game. I'm not going to lie. The concentration levels need to be on another... Look at this guy just weaving around me here.
Good.
Need to be on another level. Almost gave away a penalty there. But I can see why there's this concentration. And it's not just a game. There's like an endurance capacity to this as well. How many tournaments would you play in a day exactly? Or how many games exactly?
Every weekend I play at least 30 games. It's a requirement for all of us, you know, to be
so that's more like your training prep, right? Oh! 2-0 down! In my hood, normally, like, what happens is 3-0, you give off. That's like humiliation. But it doesn't count for you because you're the best, man. Come on.
At least, yeah.
And then you get 30 games for training. When you get to the actual tournament, it's the 6th to the 8th of August. How many games are you going to be playing per day?
Yeah, so they'll split the 32 players into 8 groups of 4. And I assume top 4 will go through, and then after that it will be knockout stages, quarterfinals.
So again, no room for error there.
No room
literally,
for error,
you slip up and you're potentially out of the running for. And we're talking about $500,000. This is huge, man.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to try my very best. Okay, I'm not going to worry about getting a goal. My goal is to just get into your half. Right, I'll consider that a goal. Here we go. We're in your half. Never mind, we're done. We're not in his half anymore. But honestly, you've got to concentrate on much. We're playing against the FIFA E World Cup champion. He's the champion of SA and much of Europe as well. They're going to be competing for $500,000, and that's happening mid-August. And I've just got to stop 3-0. I'm not going to give off. Don't give off, Raul. You got this, boy. You got this. All right, I'm done. New game. Guys, we'll see you after the break. We're chilling with the beast right here. It's the champ himself. Clearly you can see why, but more championship power and energy coming through on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. We'll see you soon.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Singer and songwriter Matthew Field has cemented his place in the local music scene, certainly as the lead singer of the very popular indie pop band Beatenberg, who've been on our show so many times, given us so many exclusives. We love them, we love him. And now he is wowing the world with his unique sound under his solo project titled M Field. With 2 successful singles and his newest single, Andrew, on the charts, he is releasing his self-titled debut EP in September this year, and he is joining us now via video call all the way from London to share a little bit more. Please give Mr. M Field a warm Expresso welcome. Woo! Hey. Buddy, there's only about 5 of us allowed in studio at any given time now because of restrictions here, so that was the most we could muster. I hope you felt it. I hope you felt the love, man. How are you doing on the other side of the world?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Happy to be here, actually. I feel like it's going to be good for writing and productivity, creativity and everything. Just something different. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Obviously weird time and everything. Trying to keep busy.
Yeah, and clearly a very creative time for most artists that we're connecting with at the moment, and it sounds like you have been busy. Congratulations on the success of your solo project. So how long has this been in the works, and explain it to us. Is this happening alongside the band? I know the other gents have also been busy, also spreading their wings. Where do we stand in the great scheme of things?
We definitely still have plans with the band, and we have music that we plan to put out quite soon, actually. So there are definitely a lot of things coming for the band as well, and it's never been a sort of this or that type of thing. It's been something to explore in this time when working with the band has been kind of difficult. For one thing, just logistically, because we've all been in different cities, and the world has not really been operating in the normal way. So I took some time just to, I'm always writing songs and I have a lot of ideas, so I just put a lot of those into like a solo thing, which had been a possibility for some time, but it seemed the right timing to make it happen. Yeah, I think it'll probably enrich the band and I'm certainly learning a lot doing things on my own. It's quite different. It's been fun, and yeah, there's still stuff to come with the band as well, for sure.
You've worked with London-born producer, is it Bullion, to put the music together, and you've enjoyed great radio success with your singles Gargoyle and Leafy Outlook. What was it like collaborating with Bullion, and what did that bring out in terms of the music? Because you say, obviously, this is a very different collaborative process than, say, working with the rest of the band.
Bullion's really great. I mean, he does a lot of cool stuff as an artist himself, but he's also a great producer and great mix engineer. And with me, I think given the circumstances, and I had quite worked on songs, and it was long distance, it was it was an interesting thing. I'd pass something to him, and then he'd do some things, then bring it back, and then I would have some feedback, and then we change it. But I really think he brought a lot of life to the songs, and they're much better for having him on board. And it'd be cool to work with him, maybe in a more sort of free, way when we can actually get to studio together or something. It was, really cool to work with him. A really nice experience.
Yeah, and that time will come where you will be able to sit in a jam-packed studio and get on it, especially in the UK, where we know vaccinations are going well. But you are, as it stands at the moment, currently obviously in quarantine in London. But you've got a show coming up at the Moth Club there in October. What else have you got planned in this space? What have you got planned for that show? And what are you going to be up to while you're in the UK? What are you really most excited about?
I'm most excited about just doing as much of my own music as I can and putting it out, because I think it's been a long time that I've been working it's kind of hard to release things in a way, and I've always felt like I've had much more music than the world has seen. So I guess what I'm mainly most excited about is just, song after song, finishing and then putting out in some way, whether it's with the band as a solo project or with other musicians or whatever, just doing as much as I can. And then, so that's my plan, basically just work in the studio all the time.
Yeah,
and then, obviously, once live shows are possible, we'll start doing those as well, which is also exciting.
Dude, it's so good to see you doing so well, despite, as you said earlier, the craziness that is going on around us. Please pass our best on to the rest of the lads and keep making amazing music, man. Enjoy being in your creative bubble. Enjoy plugging into the expertise in the UK, in that hub that you now find yourself in. And just enjoy it and stay safe, most importantly, man. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
Oh, man, what a legend. We are loving the quirky music, the sound, the vision being delivered by M. Fields. And remember that name. It might sound simplistic, but it is going to go far. You best keep an eye out for his upcoming EP release in September.
Oh, what a vibe, M. Field.
M. Field. We are not going to forget that.
No, definitely not.
And here's another reason not to forget that name, because we're about to check out this new offbeat single, and it's called Andrew. Let's check it out.
At your side, oh, take it in your stride. Oh, now it's only your pride, Andrew. Ooh, it's heavy in stone. Oh, it's a truth well known. You gotta do it alone, Andrew. Hollow and empty, you don't feel light from an upper window, two shadows crossing a rugby field.
How do you make someone's name sound cool? Andrew Hempfield. Thank you so much for blessing us with your pure talent this morning on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Absolutely loved it. Thank you for the fields. Andrew.
Nourish your skin with Ingram's Camphor Cream, enriched with camphor and glycerine. Trusted to restore and repair dry skin. Ingram's, your skin, your brave.
The ultimate accessory, the latest shiny thing. Mesmerized, trying to keep up, but never getting ahead in an endless cycle of spending. In this world of constant upgrades, do you want a bank that takes your money or a bank that takes your money seriously?
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back to your Monday. We're live right here on your Feel Good opening up on S3, and we're talking about some champions, some people that have found their flow state, and people that have found their thing. Now, if you haven't found your thing, you want to listen to this right now, because 20 years ago, when then clothing designer Chantal Lascari's husband suggested that she writes her own cookbook for salads, she would never have imagined that it would lead to her now having 4 successful cookbook titles under her belt. Now, many have wondered what it took for her to find her thing, right? And Chantal is joining us in studio right now this morning amidst the release of her latest cookbook, All Sorts of Tapas, to share some creative tips on how you can find your own gorgeous thing that is all yours. Welcome to the show. It's
Thanks
so good having you. And your energy is pure. It's alive. You've got this glow. I can see why you needed to express this in a medium. And let's talk about this cookbook. If you haven't and hadn't even suggested doing a cookbook, I mean, where did this passion for just life and everything else even just come from for you?
I think probably it started because I've been a serial entrepreneur. I mean, as a little girl, I think I was 11 when I started making lip glosses.
Yeah, okay.
And I was going around to all the mums asking for the ends of the lipsticks, because you've actually got a lot of lipstick at the bottom. So I learned to fish it out, and I made my mum go and buy me pots. So I didn't ruin the cooking pots. And I got little sort of jars and containers, and I started making my own lip gloss and started selling them to all the girls at school. So I've always liked doing things. I think I'm a bit of a doer, and that's probably where it all started.
I must say, I love it, because like you're ahead of your time there. You're recycling, upcycling.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
That was a genius move.
I just wanted pink lips. That's all I wanted at the
But again, following your passion. Now, this is a question which I love how you wrap your mind around this entire sort of scenario. Now, many people, before they want to try something, they're very intimidated and they don't get involved in it because they're like, how? I don't know anything about it, so how can I try? You, however, suggest that that's possibly the best way to do it, right?
I really believe it. I think there's so many people that are petrified to actually start anything because they say, I don't have the right job, I don't have the right credentials, I don't drive the right car, I don't have the right clothes, or whatever it is. And I really believe that that's just an excuse. You're just putting those obstacles in the way, and you don't need to. It's you. It's about you and what you can do and what you believe you can do. I think that's what's so important, is it doesn't matter about all the things. I mean, I started off and I'd have no qualifications, but I ran a factory in Joburg. I had 150 staff. I worked in the Middle East. Half my business was there. And I started off being a receptionist. I answered the telephone. So I really don't believe you need to have 10 degrees behind you to do what you want to do.
Yeah, and I think maybe a lot of that possibly comes in with this fear that we inherently have of, like, we want to do it the best way we can. And often the thought of that almost paralyzes us into doing nothing because we're so scared of doing something wrong. And we don't want to actually get started. But again, you seem to find the silver lining in this, right?
I believe so. I think also you don't have to start... You know, nobody starts off and lands up in a corner office.
Yeah.
You know, we don't all have the laptops that we open up and the BMW cars. You start small. I used to walk to work. I didn't have a car. If my mum couldn't take me, I would have to walk. So I would put my tackies on and then I would walk and then I'd put my little high heels on when I arrived. So I think it's also about just taking small steps. So just start small. You don't have to, you know where you want to be. Yes, that's always great to have that, and I believe that's very important.
Goal to work towards,
very important, so you know where you are. But you're not going to get there tomorrow. It's okay if you don't get there tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, just do baby steps. That, for me, is what it's all about. And enjoy it. I think that's also the other part.
Probably one of the most important ones. And I think what you're saying, it's so simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. And that's what you're really looking at here. One thing I love especially is how when you're looking at someone embarking on their journey and you take today's world where we are so influenced by people doing amazing things, you look at it and you're like, I want to do that. I want to become that person. And in that moment, you almost find like you lose your own uniqueness and your own true journey. Yeah. You've got a great sort of analogy on this. I mean, you believe that your own journey is yours to do with as you please. Make the mistakes, make your own sense, but take ownership of it, right?
100%. I really believe that. It's your journey, it's nobody else's. And also there are a lot of people out there who say they've got your best interests at heart, but they don't. I mean, your mom's going to be worried about you. Your dad's going to want you to succeed. There might be somebody jealous in the family or a jealous friend who's going to say, nah, don't, you know, what about this, what about that? It's your journey, and take ownership and enjoy it, you know. Take those steps, and if you fail, that's the other big thing, that's okay too. You know, because when we fail, that's when we really learn. It's a really lousy thing sometimes to have to admit and go through. I hate that. I don't want to fail. I just want to succeed at everything. Yeah. But so often, I mean, even in the kitchen, when I make a complete hash of something, I mean, not all those recipes arrived just boom, there they are, they're perfect.
Yeah.
You know, you go and you try it and, oh my gosh, okay, we'll just quietly throw that one in the bin and pretend it never happened. And then you try again, and that's okay. I think we must actually not berate ourselves and get angry with ourselves and then just go, oh, no, I can't do this because I failed.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to fail a few times. And often, you know, when we look at these icons out there and these really super successful people, we hear about their success stories. We don't hear about the failures that they went through.
So true.
If you sit down with like a Richard Branson or if you sat with Steve Jobs, sit and ask them the questions about what things did you do that didn't work?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to know about the success story. But if you really want to understand what it's like to the journey of life, there are going to be a few failures, and it's okay, it's allowed.
I think it's almost necessary in order for us to grow, to achieve what we do. And I mean, I take your beautiful example, look what it's resulted in, something so incredible. And we're going to be talking about these cookbooks more. But just to chat about it, Chantal's going to continue little tips with us. And we've got something incredible. We're giving away a set of Chantal's All Sorts cookbook collection, which includes the titles All Sorts of Salads, All Sorts of Healthy Dishes, The Mediterranean Way, All Sorts of One Dish Wonders, and her latest this book all sorts of tapas. And now all you have to do is comment and answer the question, what hobby or activity are you most passionate about? Or, and you can put that on our competition post on Facebook, and the competition closes at midday today. T's and C's apply, and you can head over to the expressoshow.com as well. But don't go anywhere, because we're going to be chatting some more about this magic on these cookbooks, some more of this beautiful energy and what makes all of this tick. We'll see you soon, guys.
Thank you so much, Geraldo Mornay, for that conversation. It's just 2 minutes before 8 o'clock. Time to have a final look at what is happening in and around the world. Now, starting with your national news first, more than 300 farmers and farm workers' families in the drought-stricken Dr. Beyers-Naudé municipality in the Eastern Cape have benefited from donations by the non-profit organization, the South African Water Warriors. The donations were made as a short-term relief for the farmers and their workers as part of the Eastern Cape continue to bear the devastating effects of a prolonged 7-year drought. Now, the donations include animal feed, groceries and bottled water. They were brought from as far afield as the Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. And then the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority this weekend authorized the Sinovac Coronavac vaccine. The vaccine is manufactured by Sinovac Life Sciences, a Chinese national pharmaceutical group. The regulatory authority has reduced the time taken to register medicines from 20 months to less than 3 months. A consignment of the Sinovac Coronavac vaccine is likely to arrive in the country by the end of the month. Sinovac Coronavac is a double-dose vaccine for people aged between 18 to 59. Now, the doses will be given between 14 to 28 days apart. Then looking to news further abroad, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has inaugurated a naval base 135 kilometers from the border with Libya. Now called the July 3rd base, Egypt says it will help protect strategic and economic interests, as well as helping guard against irregular migration. Now, naval forces performed exercises that included firing of rockets, parachute jumps, and an amphibious landing. The name July 3rd base marks the day in 2013 when Sisi led the overthrow of Muslim Brotherhood President Mohamed Morsi. And then search efforts for possible survivors in the rubble of a partially collapsed apartment block in Miami, USA, have been suspended ahead of the controlled demolition of the rest of the building. The remaining structure will be brought down using explosives. Part of the 12-story block collapsed on the 24th of June, and 24 people are known to have died and 121 are still missing. Now, no survivors have been pulled from the rubble at the site since the first few hours after the structure's collapse. And now some feel-good news, with South Africa hospitality industry again bearing the brunt of the current third hard lockdown. A well-known pizzeria in Hout Bay is not only making plans to keep its head above water, but also to support those less fortunate in its vicinity. Now, the pizzeria is adapting its business model by converting the restaurant into a soup kitchen. With the help of donations, it will also be able to keep its staff employed and feed the community through the winter chill. In fact, supporting the community and giving back has been nothing new for it during the COVID-19 pandemic. During the first hard lockdown in 2020, it managed to raise more than 200,000 rand to help feed the local community, and also donated free pizzas to fire victims from a local informal settlement in the same year. On that feel-good note, that is where I leave your 8 o'clock news headlines. Here is G with a final look at those sports headlines.
Thanks so much, Jamie. Let's fly through those headlines one last time this morning. Let's start with cricket and the good news from a South African perspective. The Proteas recorded a 25-run victory over the West Indies in their fifth and final T20 international match, playing out at the National Cricket Stadium in Grenada to clinch the series 3-2. Captain Themba Bavuma won the toss and elected to bat first as South Africa went on to post 168 for 4, with Aiden Markram, the man of the match, contributing 70 from 48 deliveries, and Quinton de Kock continuing his amazing form, smashing 60 from 42 as well. So the Windies failing to reach their target, finishing on 143 for 9 as the Proteas clinched the series win. Then on to rugby. The Springboks started their preparations for the upcoming British and Irish Lions Test Series with a 49 victory over Georgia at Loftus on Friday. The Boks held a 19-9 lead at half-time, with debutant winger Apalele Fassi scoring the opening try for the home side with his first touch of the ball. Jacques Nenaber's side then eventually ran in 6 tries to none, showing some resolve and patience throughout the match. So South Africa will face Georgia in a second encounter in Pretoria on Friday at 7 p.m. Then the British and Irish Lions got their Lions series off to a winning start with an impressive 56-14 win over the Sigma Lions at the Emirates Airline Park in Johannesburg on Saturday. Wales wing Louis Rees-Zammit scoring a 4th-minute debutant try, and Josh Adams also scoring 4 tries on the night to guide their team to victory. So the British and Irish Lions will now take on the Sharks this coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. and then they'll face the Springboks in the first of their 3 tests on the 24th of July. Then staying with Springbok news, the Junior Boks kept a clean sheet and made it 4 wins in 4 matches with a 27-9 victory over Argentina in the final match of their Under-20 International Series. And that was at a very wet Newlands Stadium on Saturday. Hooker Andre Hugo Venter securing the win for the Junior Boks over the Los Pumitas with 2 more tries in the final 15 minutes of the match. In the first game of the day, Georgia beat Uruguay 29 to finish their campaign on a winning note as well. Then on to high-stakes football. Denmark, England, Italy and Spain have all confirmed their spots in the Euro 2020 semi-finals. On Saturday, Harry Kane struck twice as England thrashed Ukraine 4-0. Then Denmark edged out the Czech Republic 2-1 in their quarter-final clashes. So on Friday night, Nicolo Barella and Lorenzo Insigne, he guided Italy to a 2-1 win over Belgium. And then after a 1-1 draw, Spain beat Switzerland 3-1 in a pretty nervy penalty shootout to advance to the last 4 as well. So this means that Italy will face Spain in the first semi-final tomorrow, and then England take on Denmark for a place in that final on Wednesday, both matches kicking off at 9 p.m. And then finally onto motorsport. Red Bull's Max Verstappen made it 3 wins in a row from pole position in the Austrian Grand Prix yesterday. Verstappen finishing ahead of Mercedes' Valtteri Bottas and McLaren's Lando Norris. That while 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton finished just outside the podium positions in 4th place. So this means that Verstappen has now moved 32 points clear of Hamilton at the top of the drivers' standings on 182 points. And that's a wrap of your sport for a Monday morning. Let's see what the weather has in store.
Thanks so much, G-Man. I'll start with your international weather news. Some news from Canada, the country we actually featured during our show on Friday. Now, some 350 members of Canada's military as well as aircraft are on standby to help evacuate residents in British Columbia, where wildfires linked to a record-breaking heat wave threaten to engulf communities. Now, emergency services say they are now trying to control more than 170 fires, many triggered by lightning strikes. Now, some 12,000 lightning strikes, many of those hitting near communities, were recorded on Saturday alone. Many western areas in the country are tinder dry following the unprecedented hot weather that was experienced. Meanwhile, at least 2 people are reported to have died in the village of Lytton that was destroyed by fire on Wednesday. Lytton recorded Canada's highest ever temperature of 49.6 degrees Celsius on Tuesday. And you know what we love? We also love the fact that we have a growing international community who tune in daily via the Africa channel and YouTube. So for your final international feature for the morning, we are heading to Alexandria, the 3rd largest city in Egypt. Now, Alexandria is a popular tourist destination and also an important industrial center because of its natural gas and oil pipelines from Suez. Now, the city has a hot desert climate, which is influenced by the Mediterranean Sea, causing variable rainy winters and hot summers that at times can be very humid. However, today the city can expect sunny conditions with a hot maximum of 31 degrees Celsius. And then rounding up our weather report for the morning, we bring it back to South African shores to recap the lovely sunrise images that we received from you, our lovely viewers. Now, starting us off this morning, we started with this beautiful view overlooking the city of Pretoria, shared by Nkateko Maluleke. What an absolutely great way to start your day off with. Now, heading to the coast, we also had Nolene Osborne from the Bluff, who shared this photo of the blue sky scattered with clouds as the sun sun casts its hazy light over the area. Another one from Pat Anderson from Amandamtoti, who shared this stunning view overlooking the ocean, showing off some pink hues along the horizon. And then last but definitely not least, Prasio Mas from Kwamhlanga, also showing off this great photo captured as the sun comes up. Again, we encourage you, please do continue to share your sunrise photos with us on the Expresso Facebook page, and who knows, you might just get a young feature here on your Feel Good Breakfast show. But right now, here is a final look at the temperatures for you, South Africa. We start off with Polokwane. You can expect a low of 10 today, peaking at 20. For you, Umbombela, it is a range of 14 to 19 with a 55% chance of rain. Pretoria, for you, it is a minimum of 10 and a maximum of 23. And then Johannesburg following with a low of 7 and a high of 20. Mahikeng, 625. Klerksdorp, for you, it is 420. And then Kimberley coming through with -3, peaking at 16. Bloemfontein as well, -3 to a high of 19. And then Richards Bay can expect some rain today with a low of 12 and a high of 19. Pietermaritzburg as well, rain is coming your way with a range of 10 to 15. And then South Africa's playground Durban with a low of 15 to a high of 18. Mthatha, for you, it is 118. East London as well, 819. And then Cradock can be seen with a low of 0 and a high of 14. If you do find yourself in Gqeberha today, do expect a range of 6 to 18, George 517, and then the mother city, Cape Town, can expect a range of 8 to 16. For you, Worcester, it is 217, Sutherland with -3 to a high of 11, and then Uppington ranging from 2 to 20. That is where I wrap up your weather here on your Feel Good Breakfast show.
Thank you so much, Jamie. And I got to say, I love everybody that sends in those beautiful pictures. I get to just stare at it in absolute wonder. And we're speaking about God as a wonder. And everything in his life, when it starts, when it finishes, it begins with that exact wonder. And that's what we'll be talking about this morning. And we get to see a performance. And the name of this song is Father of Wonder by Simone Boyson, talking about all that beautiful wonder. And let's take it away.
Father of wonder, send your rain down, send your rain down, and soak us in your glory, so we can be changed. Father of wonder, send your rain down, send your rain down, and soak us in your glory, so we can be changed. Send your glory, so we can be us your face and wow us with your beauty so we can be changed.
That was just absolute magic. My spine, my body is just overwhelmed by that wonder. Thank you so much, Simone. And we're not going to have to say goodbye to her just yet because we've got one more performance happening right after this. Don't go anywhere.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It is Monday and it's time for our relationship talk of the day. Now, a feeling many of us have become quite familiar with during the COVID-19 pandemic is the uncertainty of what the future holds. It can make it easy to spiral into feelings of panic, dread, and anxiety. But there are many things that can be done to manage our anxiety and fears, even in the face of this unique crisis. It can be done.
Yep. And today we are asking, How the COVID-19 pandemic has left you feeling. Has it left you feeling more anxious than normal? What is normal? Is there a new normal? Clinical psychologist Asha Dullab is here to help us unpack the subject this morning and hopefully give us some practical tips on managing anxiety. But if you'd like to leave any sage-like comments or ask any questions, please weigh in. You can hit us up on our Facebook page, or 021 110 552 is the number to connect with us. Asha, welcome back. You look beautiful as always.
Right.
You don't look anxious at all. You look like you are controlling this. Is that just on the surface, or is there anxiety bubbling under? I joke about this because we can joke about it. We've earned the right after the last year and a half. We've been through the highs and the lows. But I need to draw the distinction straight off the bat because these are two different subject matter that we have discussed at length. There is anxiety related to the situation, situational anxiety, which is a normal response to your situation, and then there is an anxious disorder, an actual mental disorder. How do we distinguish between the two?
Well, we all have free-floating anxiety within us. So when anxiety is appropriate to the situation, that is normal anxiety that we all have. It has to be appropriate to the situation. For example, COVID, there is worry, there is concern, there's uncertainty. So there is a level of appropriate worry. Exactly. And anxiety disorders when there's a prolonged level of distress and impairment in one's functioning. It's really getting in one's daily functioning, getting in the way. There's sleep disturbances, there's emotional disturbances, your relationships are suffering, your work is suffering. So it becomes quite disenabling, debilitating, and you really feel it. I think the person that has anxiety, they know it, they feel it in their body. They just don't know how to get out of that feeling.
Switch it off.
I remember this so well. I think last year I went through a phase where I was struggling with anxiety, where I couldn't think, I couldn't focus. I literally had to seek help. And maybe we can speak about, that aspect a little bit later on. But is there something called healthy anxiety? I know you're laughing, but is it something that's...
No, but I mean, like our job, for instance, has a little bit of healthy anxiety. You need to be a bit nervous so you can be honest, so you can be focused and stay in the moment.
Absolutely. I think that it's a motivational factor. I mean, people, even during COVID, they're getting tested, they're getting vaccinated. That is anxiety that drives one. It gives you a chance to sort of do some checks and balances within yourself. It's also a greater sense of awareness. That kind of level of just alertness also heightens one's awareness. It's protective in nature. It keeps us aware of circumstances collectively, individually. So definitely there is an element of our healthy anxiety there.
Part of the human condition, yeah.
But how do you know if it's healthy or unhealthy? When should that be like a thing of concern when you're feeling anxious?
Well, again, it's really that physiological response. Anxiety, we hold it a lot within our bodies. And when it becomes unhealthy, it's when like I said, it's really getting in the way of our daily functioning. Yeah, and most prevalent is sleep disturbances. We don't have restful, deep sleep. That is disrupted. It's inflammation in the body. It's affecting the immunity, not only within the body, but also within the mind, the immunity of the mind, because our mind is ruminating. 5,000 thoughts that we had yesterday is the same 5,000 thoughts that we're having today.
And then it becomes a vicious cycle that just keeps repeating itself, and the more tired you are, the less you're able to regulate. I want to ask, because the sleep thing seems to have come up quite a lot, and that seems to be prevalent, certainly within my kind of inner circle. COVID and a lack of sleep seem to be going hand in hand, but we're talking about anxiety. When is it situational? When is it fight or flight? And when is it possibly pushing into that realm where you need to put up the white flag and say, okay, I need to talk to someone, I need to be medicated, I need help, and it's okay to need help. But we're going to continue the conversation in a moment.
Definitely okay to need help, and maybe this next segment will help you. And we're back with clothing designer turned cookbook author Chantal Ascaris, and she's going to be going and giving up her creative take on how we can find the thing that adds meaning to our lives. Now, we were chatting earlier, and I'm loving this conversation, Chantal, because it's really invigorating this anti-anxiety feel for me. It's giving me this excitement again to want to go and do something. A great suggestion that you've incorporated is you don't have to go and change the world. You can just start a new hobby, perhaps. And a hobby in itself is already a challenging thing, but within that, we want to still try to challenge ourselves, right? What's the rationality behind that?
Well, I think also we don't want to get stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
I think COVID especially, and I know we're talking about anxiety, but we've all kind of found ourselves in a bit of a rut. And I think it's a way of trying to take us out of it. So have a hobby, but don't always just do the same thing. How about just pushing it a little bit further and just testing yourself a little bit? As soon as you achieve it, you're going to feel a million times better. And then also those excitements that we all crave all the time.
Yeah, and I would imagine in that process as well, you're getting to potentially get new stimulations that you've never had before. And like, hey, hang on, this is actually quite cool. I'm enjoying this. And if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. And that's a great way to find out. But then you get the extreme of the scenario where, okay, there's something that I'm committing to, and initially I have the love and the desire, and I want to go ahead and do it. But then you often see it get so consuming, and it becomes like more a burden than anything else. It's now work mode. I put on this different whole demeanor when I get into the zone. This is not a good thing, I would imagine, right?
What you're explaining is exactly what happened to me.
Okay.
So that's really how I found my thing.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be in the clothing industry. I tried fashion, it was a little iffy, so I went into the corporate clothing market, and I did really well. I was really proud of what I'd done. I'd built up a company, I had a factory in bottom end of N Street in Joburg.
Okay.
Had 150 staff. Half my business was in the Middle East, and I had like this picture-perfect life. I'm on the plane the whole time.
You've made it.
I've made it. Look at this. This is fab. Yeah. But actually, it wasn't. And I felt like that hamster that's on that treadmill, and I'm going and I'm going and I'm going. And I had like a constant cough for 4 years because that was from the aeroplane and the flying. And my husband was the one, who actually called it and said to me, hey, you know what? I don't really like the person you've become. And you can imagine, oh my gosh, how come my husband, he's supposed to be my rock and supposed to support me, he's telling me I'm grumpy and I'm always sick and I'm always tired. And I actually had to take a step back and go, you know what, you're actually spot on. So things that I had loved in the beginning, I actually didn't love anymore. And what I want to tell people is that actually you're allowed to do that, because I grew as a person, we grow as people, the world changes around us. So why does it always have to stay the same? It doesn't. And it's okay. So that's when he said to me, why don't you just take a break? And you always liked cooking and you liked making salads. And I went, what? Me? Salads? Food? I loved going to restaurants.
Yeah.
Restaurants was my thing. That was the other thing. I loved restaurants because, of course, I didn't have to make it. But I knew, the kitchen was where the fridge was. The fridge was where the milk was, and the milk was for my tea. And that was like the sum total.
Because of God.
Yeah, that was what the kitchen was for my tea. And he said, no, come on, you're always making salads, and because we go to the bush a lot and there's never any electricity there. Yeah. So I used to have to be quite ingenious with what I had to make, because you can't, a lettuce leaf on day 4 is going to look a bit fraught, So you have to start thinking of different ways of presenting it. And he said, yeah, that's what you do. Why don't you do a book on salads? I said, what? Okay, well, let me try. I'm also, I'm not scared to try things.
Something new. I'll bring it on.
Something new. You know what? All they can do is say no. I don't have to see them face to face. That was also quite nice. That's a bit intimidating. I know my limits. So I sent in a proposal, and Penguin said, Penguin Random House, and they said, actually, we like it. Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
And there we are. So who would have thought? So
and I think the testament to that is the fact that you were real and genuine in that moment. It wasn't like you were trying to be anything other than you, right? Exactly. You were doing you, and I think you were, in a sense, realigning and finding this new passion. And I think what you said earlier is just something I want to mention to Mzansi, and it feels like there's no bad time to reinvent yourself, reassess, and relook at, am I enjoying this? Am I still loving it? Am I passionate about it? And maybe that's something I want to chat to you about. Why is that possibly, and what I look at what you're putting out there in your communication, that is one of the most important things, right? Is make sure you have that passion, make sure you have that love with whatever it is that you're putting yourself into. What's your rationality and reason for that?
I think because you've got to wake up every day, every morning, and you've got to do it time and time again. Now, you can just imagine if you hate what you do, there couldn't be anything worse. I just, my mind boggles at the thought of what that must be like.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why we say take your hobbies. Even if you are doing the work that you don't really enjoy and you've got a hobby, try that out. See how it feels. Maybe can this actually be something else that could be an alternative business? You know, it doesn't have to, you can keep your business because we've all got bills to pay, kids to go through school or whatever it is. So start small. Have something on the side. The big thing is to realize that you are going to have to work hard. So, but it's not always hard, it's about working smart.
Yeah, but I love that, and I think that's inevitable. You are going to get those moments, like you said, where you have obstacles, you have challenges, and it's the passion, it's the commitment, and it's the love that's going to inevitably get you over that point 100%. And get you to where you are right now. And where you are right now is something incredible, and this is what we were talking about, because we are giving away a set of Chantal's All Sorts cookbook collection, and that's where she is right now, and it includes the titles All Sorts of Salads, All Sorts of Healthy Dishes the Mediterranean Way, and All Sorts of One Dish Wonders. And on top of that, we're also including her latest book, which is All Sorts of Tapas. Now, I'm definitely getting hungry, and I think you guys are going to be too after you see all the incredible recipes in this. But all you have to do is comment on your answer and use the answer this question: what hobby or activity are you most passionate about? Now, you can come through on our Facebook page and comment on our post, and the competition closes at midday today. Your T's and C's do apply, and they can be found on expressoshow.com. But don't worry, we are still going to be sticking with Chantal and absorbing some of this fire energy, because we've got a Pilates session that I know you're going to love at home. You don't need any equipment whatsoever, but come join us and get ready. It's going to be a fun one.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, you guessed it, it's Monday, so we're talking all things relationships, and today we're asking you at home, has the COVID-19 pandemic left you feeling a bit more anxious? I'm sure we can all agree to this. How has it? Yeah. Now, we are, of course, back with clinical psychologist Asha Dulip to unpack this topic, so do weigh in with your questions or your comments on our Facebook page, and our studio line number is 021-110-552, and we'll answer all of your burning questions.
Asha, we touched on it. It stands to reason that there will be kind of levels of anxiety attached to lockdown in relation to what's been happening to you. But when we talk about those anxieties that are intrinsic, you mentioned sleep being one of the side effects. I'd like to know why we've been so badly affected, our sleep patterns, and what are some of the more negative, the extremes that have surfaced in the space of anxiety as it relates directly to what we've been through over the last year and a half?
Okay, so when it comes to our sleep, we ruminate, we overthink our anxieties, and that's what keeps us awake at night. And then obviously our whole circadian rhythm goes out of balance. Our bodies become inflamed because we aren't getting the restful sleep that we need, and then therefore there's more stress and more anxiety and more illness. When it comes to the greater picture of the pandemic and COVID, what we are suffering is we're suffering our memory and we're suffering our imagination. The memory in terms of the past, our past pre-COVID life, and also we're suffering our imagination of what might be You know, we may lose our jobs, we may get ill. And when we look at this concept of fear, because when we are anxious, it's related to fear. And fear actually relates to time. We are time-bound with fear. So we go into this past, present, future mode. We're going into
out of the moment.
Exactly, and it's all related to our thoughts. So it's fear that's related to our time in our heads. And we suffer that. We suffer the memory of it. We suffer the imagination. We can create scenarios in our brains that...
I obsess. That's with my kids especially.
Exactly.
I just obsess about these terrible things happening. And given the time as we've had to ruminate, as you say, while we're stuck at home and we're forced to be in that space, it almost feels like you can't pull yourself out of that cycle.
For sure. But where does that then leave people that is already struggling with an anxiety disorder? Where does the space leave them feeling?
Well, with people that already are struggling, remember that those people also have predisposing factors. I mean, you have certain personality types that also are more prone to be anxious, and it's usually rubber banded throughout their lives. You'll see threads of anxiety throughout their lives, and those people need to be focusing on their well-being, really looking at, you know, connecting with nature, really like looking at their diet, looking at their sleep, and getting in touch with their emotions. Taking note of what you're taking into your system, just what you're reading, does it actually create more anxiety in you? Because it's your individual anxiety, but also our collective anxiety that we pick up from the media, from the government, from what we are hearing from others. So we're mirroring each other's anxiety all the time. Of course, social media, it's...
so much more digitally connected now. I think, like, Lindsay and I were both kind of looking at each other the other night like, oh my word, we've been on our phones for the last like 3 hours and we're sitting at home. You know, it's just, I know, as with the medicine and the science attached to COVID-19, we just haven't had enough time to assess all the data. But we must now be starting to get a sense, the experts must be getting a sense of what sort of mark this is going to leave on the psyche of humanity. What do you think that's going to be? What are we going to learn? And what are some of the bigger knock-on effects? And how, most importantly, how do we protect ourselves?
Well, we need to become much more aware, because actually in 2030 the prediction is that anxiety and depression will be the top disease.
Wow.
So anxiety and depression is really taking over. We need to take action now in seeing to our overall mental well-being. And that means going back and making sure that we are watching our words, watching our actions, watching our thoughts, watching our character and our heart, the word watch. Just take note and observe and really, you know, put in those steps that really bring us well-being. We have to be kind to our mind at this time.
Be kind to your mind. I absolutely love that. If you've got any comments or questions for us, you can give us a shout, 021 110 552, but you'll see on screen right now all of the contact details for the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, who are superb. They are always there, they are always ready to listen, and they are equipped to help you regardless of where you sit in the spectrum of anxiety, whether it's a situational, something that's happening to you right now, or it's a state of being that needs to be addressed. There is someone who can help you, but you have to put your hand up and speak.
Thank you so much. Now, for this next recipe, I know we all love comfort food and we all love food that's easy on the wallet. Now, this next dish ticks both of those boxes.
So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic!
A classic range from Clover. Timeless taste. Made with love by Clover.
Now, uncomplicated dishes are often the most satisfying, and just like our 5-ingredient Clover Classic pilchard cottage pie, you just got to add a dash of speed and you have a winning weeknight dinner. And what? Maybe you can even try it tonight. And we've got Chef Burton Leo is showing us how we're putting this one together. It's round 2 with you.
Round 2 with you. Right, so this is a very easy dish. So all we need is the Clover Classic.
Okay, our hero ingredient coming straight through. You know what's cool about this, and I've noticed after working on the show for so long now, is that you can cook almost anything with Clover Classic. Frying, baking, it all kind of works, right? It's a beautiful medium fat spread as well, and it tastes good.
It does. I mean, the fat spread, I mean, the 40% of it is actually amazing. I mean, it helps. It makes everything creamy. So we're just going to melt down the butter.
Okay.
We're going to add some onion to it.
So what's the first step? Are we sautéing again?
We're sautéing.
I love how you just get your sauté on. You're like a sauté specialist. But for me, this is like the penultimate start of a cooking dish recipe. When you hear that sizzle, that sauté just kind of brings the flavors, the smell starts coming together. The kitchen is alive.
I mean, that's what it is, we're cooking. So, once the onions are nicely sauteed, we're going to add the pilchards to it. Just going to give us another 30 seconds.
Okay. And pilchards are giving nostalgia back like I can't remember. I mean, this is stuff I actually grew up on, man.
Yeah, we
were
grew up
talking
on
about this earlier just before we came through. I used to have to hustle for protein wherever I could, and cheap alternatives were things like a can of tuna and pilchards. And we got so creative with this, but I never did what you're doing now. I never ever got to a cottage pie. You've stepped the bar up here, Chef B. You definitely have.
Thank you.
And I got to just add on this note, we were talking about it earlier, but it's so cool when we're looking at Clover Classic. It doesn't matter if you're cooking, baking, or spreading. Clover Classic Spread is versatile to use in any of your favorite cooking techniques, and it takes your classic meals, like we said right now, to the next level, and the bar's been set, all right? So you've got your sauté on. Sautéed is, that box is ticked, right?
That box is ticked, so we added the pilchards to it, so we're just going to warm it up through a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper.
Okay, and
not too much because
the pilchards came from a can and it was already in the sauce, right?
Yes.
That's that tomato sort of mix?
That's
you
correct.
want that in this?
Yes, you can. You can. You can also use the normal pilchards and always make your own sauce, but this is the easiest way to make it as budget as possible.
This is awesome, man. This is quick, it's easy. I don't have to think about much. And like you said, 5 ingredients. I'm here for that. Yes, please.
Okay, so while that's in there now, we're going to add in some frozen vegetables. This is just for color and obviously so everybody
Not just color, my man. This is health as well.
And you know the health, but mostly all the time it's color and health.
No, it is. I mean, who doesn't love to eat a dish that's just full of all the colors of the rainbow? But I must just say, it's a great way to sneak in veg. I mean, I'm sure for kids and stuff as well, that they also always often will complain about eating some raw veg.
Yes.
This is a great way to get some of the healthy nutrition in as well.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, the best way, you can always hide it. The best way to give kids vegetables is to hide it. I mean, I've got a kid of my own, and yeah, he's not very fond of vegetables. Right.
So great tip for parents at home, and sneak your vegetables into your cottage pie, of course, and that's a great way to get the kids' veg on.
Okay, from there we're going to add the pilchards into the dish.
Okay. How long would you sit this on the pan for, just by the way?
Oh, this is, look, yeah, everything's basically cooked already. I mean, we're going to cook it now in the oven as well, so everything will cook. But, like, it doesn't take long to do this. I mean, you just have to make sure your onions is nicely cooked. Everything's nice and warm through.
And then it's going to go through a further process.
It's going to go through another process, yeah. It's going to go into the oven now as well.
All right, for you, Mzansi, if you've just tuned in, shame on you, but don't worry, we've got you covered, of course. We've just finished sautéing and putting some of the recipe ingredients that we need for our cottage pie pilchard dish. But you can get this recipe on expressoshow.com, of course. We're about to go through the final steps with Chef B in the building.
So, the final step is obviously putting your mashed potato on top and covering it. I mean, I like to put little blobs all over the place. I mean, it doesn't have to be covered perfectly.
Yeah. For me, I must say, I'm not that into how it looks. It's all about the taste, man.
It's all about the taste.
All about the taste for me. You're not going to fool me with your bourgeoisness. I want to taste it. The proof is in the pudding, like they say.
No, that is true. I mean, to add a little bit of spice to this, you can always add some chili. You can add some smoked paprika to it. It just adds a little bit of more depth into it as well. But this is a very simple way of making it.
It literally is, and I mean, if I was to put a clock to this, it's been like, what, 4 minutes, if even, and we've literally got a supper dish that's suitable for the entire family, all the macros and everything else that you need, and I mean, voila.
Voila. A little bit of salt and pepper, and then pop it into the oven. 15, 20 minutes, done.
All right, well, while you're popping into the oven, Chef Burton, Leo, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. First time in the studio, first time in the kitchen. You feel like family already, man. It's been an absolute invigorating energy from you. So thank you for that. Thank you for feeding our souls and the rest of Mzansi, giving us the inspiration you need. And of course, guys, you want to find out where to get this recipe, go to theexpressoshow.com. It's the perfect supper choice for you. Pilchard cottage pie. Well done, man.
Thank you.
Made with love by Clover. Only you can make my day.
Are you Mzansi's next cooking star? If your cooking makes the pots born, enter to be on SABC2's new show, Color Your Plate with Koo. To be part of the show, buy any 3 Koo products and send Koo 5 a day to 072-741-5357 on WhatsApp and follow the steps to load a picture of your colorful meal with your own twist. Stand to win your share of 500,000 rands worth of prizes with Koo. Koo uzogcwala.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso on this Monday morning, which means we are talking relationships. And today we are asking, has the COVID-19 pandemic left you feeling more anxious? We are back with clinical psychologist and good friend Asha Jillat to unpack the topic. And we've asked for your questions, and we've had a caller phone in right now. We've got David on the line. A very good morning, David. How are you? David, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, David. Great to connect with you this morning. Thank you so much for the call. What is your comment or your question?
You know, my anxiety stems from my 81-year-old mother.
Okay.
You've got to go to the shops, you interact with people, though you take all the precautions, and I am just so anxious. It just really, you know, it's crazy. She's 81 years old, and that is my anxiety. And I'd just like to know how do we deal with something like that?
Oh, you are not alone. Very, very good question, David. Asha?
You see there with David, he's anticipating the pain and suffering of the worst-case scenario of perhaps losing his mom or getting ill and also just affecting his mom. And this is what anxiety is all about. It's the anticipation of the experience of pain and suffering. And I mean, anonymous David is, sorry, it's David, he is taking precaution. So he's doing the very best he can. He's protecting himself, he's safeguarding, and he needs to just trust that he's doing the best that he can. So he needs to befriend his anxiety, you know, become one with the anxiety. We cannot actually get away and fix it and resolve it because anxiety is part of us. So let's use the wisdom of anxiety, become one with it, accept it. There's amazing healing when we actually just accept the situation and accept the anxiety that we feel. We don't resist it all the time. In that alone, healing starts to happen.
Yep, and recognise that it's warranted. You know, you've got to be ultra careful, and if it's going to keep you as stringent as possible in terms of those protective measures, then great. Then let that be the driving force. Just don't let it overwhelm you. But great question, thank you, David.
I think the bottom line to what we're speaking about today is really like anxiety is the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
But here's the thing: how do we focus in on things that we can control? How do we then put us in that headspace to realize that we're not alone? Like everyone is going through this anxious phase of their life right now.
Yeah. We would love to be able to control every aspect of our life, but generally we waste a lot of time on trying to control things that are completely out of our control. So it's really what can we control is our entire human existence, our mind, our behaviors, our response to situations. How do we respond to anxiety, our behaviors? Also things of looking at what we take in, that's quite important. That's what we can control. Routine is very important. Let's try and control a level of routine in our life. Try to get to bed early, try to eat well, try to move, try to take a shower. Exercise is very, very important. Research is showing that exercise actually helps with anxiety in a number of ways. Also, taking responsibility for being able to connect when we need to connect with others, but also to disconnect when we need to disconnect. So that also holds a lot of responsibility. Of course, there's so many ways of managing anxiety. We can journal, group prayer, pray alone, gratitude, exercise, are all ways that we can manage, but also just expressing it. Let's talk about it, just like we are having a conversation now.
What's the one thing you, as the professional that you are, who gets to lean on your own intellectual property, I suppose, what do you say to yourself when you feel anxious?
I breathe. There's nothing more powerful than the breath that we hold within ourselves.
Yeah.
Breathe in peace, breathe out anxiety. Sometimes we can even just use a saying or a prayer that an affirmation that we repeat just to release ourselves. So that calms our mind. Meditation helps a lot. Just to silence the mind, because our mind is very busy and distracted by all those thoughts that keep coming up.
And also spending time in nature, I find that that always helps as well.
Reconnect with nature and reconnect with your body. Usher, some sage advice. Thank you so much. We're going to do that right now. We're going to put into practice what we have been speaking about and reconnect with our bodies and do, yes, some deep breaths.
All right, Mzansi, let's change the pace right now. And let's do exactly that. Right now with me, let's take one big breath in. And let all the negative Monday blues out. Now, one of the most important rules of fitness is to never skip your Monday workout. Now, whether you're doing a few light exercises or training hard, you've got to make sure that you start your week with a workout. And any workout will do. Now, if you're looking to build a strong core, then Pilates is a great option. And it's an excellent way to achieve exactly that while getting in a full body workout too. Now, of course, we've been chatting to her the entire morning. Our home chef and cookbook author, Chantal Lascaris, is still with us and will be taking us through a Monday Motivation Pilates workout. All right, Chantal? Okay. I cannot wait for this. This is something that I don't think anybody does enough of. It's so beneficial, so good for the body. Absolutely. We should be doing this every day, right?
100%. So I think when you wake up in the mornings, these are a couple of exercises that I want to show everyone to do, that you can do. Either you just do these or you just put them into the beginning of your workout and then you move into something a little more hardcore or a little, you want to do some cardio or weight training or whatever it is. These are nice, simple exercises to do, and also to maybe slip in either at the beginning of the day as a mum or sort of in the evenings.
So a standalone workout or something that you can add to a workout pre or post.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I think the best part about this is it seems like it's low impact, so we don't have to worry about much, and anybody can do this, right?
Anybody can do this. I'm just going to take us through a few of the exercises.
Yes,
so what it is it's really just the warm-up to a Pilates class and a little bit of the first basics of the mat class.
Okay.
And then normally we would go into the rest of the hour routine. But obviously today we don't have enough time for that. So I just want to take you through the basics.
Okay, Mzansi, you guys, before we get into this, get involved. Get off the couch and come join us now. Myself and Chantal are about to get it going.
And as you can see, we're just using a carpet, so there's no fancy equipment that we need.
Beautiful.
So for me, the most important thing is, and I find that a lot of people actually don't realize that they're not connecting, is to actually get your brain and your body to synchronize. And it's about being mindful. Okay, I know we throw that word around quite a lot, and it's actually a very interesting way of actually seeing how it can work or it doesn't work. So I like to start off just to sort of get into that zone.
Okay.
So what we like to do is keep our toes and our hips and our knees all shoulder width apart.
Right.
Now most women will go like that. That's how big my hips are. No, they're not that wide. Okay, let's just keep them in nice and simple. And the first thing to do is actually just soften your knees, because we might be quite cold if it's early in the morning. You don't want to start this with straight knees.
So don't lock your knees.
So don't lock the knees, just slightly bent, and just start, feel nice and relaxed in your shoulders and your arms. What we're going to do is we're going to take our chin and we're going to drop it down. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at our belly button or navel. And what we're going to do is just roll slowly, slowly down, keeping your chin low, and keep looking at your belly button. And we're just going to roll down slowly. Okay, if you can get all the way to the bottom, to your toes, that's
I'm really
great.
feeling vertebra by vertebra. I'm starting to really loosen up.
And now you should start feeling the hamstrings stretching, and then just slowly curl up. And now the secret here is to curl up slowly. And this is where we talk, one vertebra at a time. And also keep your chin looking at your belly button, so you're keeping it tucked in. And up you come. Nice and slow. That's what Pilates is all about. It's not a mad rush to get to the next
But there's
exercise.
value in this because I'm literally feeling almost every part of my body now starting to activate, and I can get to create a communication and awareness with that.
Correct.
I love
That's what we
this.
want. So we can do one more, and then you can do a couple of these at home, and then go into the next exercise.
Right.
But we'll do one more and then move on.
Sure.
Okay. So again, chin to your
tucked in,
not
and rocking the knees. Keep looking at the navel.
There you go. You got it. And just roll down. And get that stretch going. Tuck your fingers under your toes if you can. Get a nice little stretch. Let go and slowly, slowly roll up again. And feel those vertebrae one at a time.
Oh, even that stretch in the posterior chain below the legs, that was beautiful. Starting to come alive, right? What's
Okay, now they're starting to tingle. Okay, now what actually a lot of people struggle with is balance. So what we're going to do is I want you to imagine now that you've got a pole from the top of your head and it's gone right through your body.
Okay.
So now you can't move. Now let's hope I don't fall over in front of TV. Okay, and all we're going to do is we're going to lift your one leg and you're going to balance.
All right.
Okay. Now again, you're getting your mind and your body working together. Imagine your foot is actually being implanted. Feel the weight spread evenly on your entire foot, your toes, your heels, and then put the other put your leg down, and we'll do exactly the same thing again. Again, visualization is very important.
And I definitely am feeling stimulation. There's like a sort of proprioception happening with my foot, causing the calf and everything else to kind of just stabilize. And now the core is coming into play as well, right?
You don't even realize it, but there it is. And then we can put your leg down.
And how many of these would we do in a...
I would do, just because all we're trying to do with that exercise really is just get the mind-body working together and getting that coordination. So I would just do 2 or 3, and if you're feeling, you know, you want to push yourself a little bit more, lift your leg higher, move it to the side, that sort of thing, if you're feeling comfortable with it. But you'd be amazed at how many people don't actually have great balance.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, and we haven't even gotten into the full swing of it already, but just that alone is going to wake us up. So it's going to get us proprioception. It's going to get that core and the balance stimulated. We're unfortunately running out of time because I would spend the entire day with you just trying to get my entire body jacked up. But we'll continue this while you, Mzansi, stick around because we've got so much more magic happening and you do not want to miss this Monday.
Nourish your skin with Ingram's Tissue Oil Enriched Body Care range for 48-hour rich moisture. Ingram's, your skin, your brave.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Last few minutes of the show, and it's time to end of the show with a bang because we are humbled and so grateful to have singer and songwriter Simone Boysen in the studio with us this Gospel Monday. Now, to close the show off, Simone will be debuting her brand new single, Constant. This track was written during the COVID-19 pandemic as a reminder that despite the changes we face, God is forever constant and will always be in control of everything. So here is Simone Boysen with Constant.
Heavy, heavy is the weight of your love. Even when it feels like I'm floating, you're the one that's holding me down. Steady, you're the one that keeps me together. 'Cause you are the anchor, you're the one that's holding me down. There's nowhere I could go that you don't already know. There's nowhere I could hide. I can escape you, even in the middle of my unraveling world. There's one thing I know, my only constant is you, Shattered in a million tiny pieces, got me feeling scattered all over the floor. You're never gonna let me go. You never forget me. You're never gonna leave me alone. There's nothing I could do to make your love untrue. You're always by my side. Don't wanna escape you, even in the middle of an unraveling world. There's one thing I know. My only constant is you. How it's meant to be, it's how it's meant to be. Even in the middle of my unraveling world, there's one thing I know. My only constant is you. No, I'll never be alone, even if everybody's gone. You're always here with me. It's how it's meant to be. I'll never be alone, even if everybody's gone. You're always here with me. It's how it's meant to be.
Simone Boyson, please take a bow, elevating us here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show for Gospel Monday.
Superb.
What a Monday. What a show full of champions, full of superstars, Tokyo Olympians. I mean, what a day to celebrate, gee.
Yeah, man, the Olympics are just around the corner, a little bit of FIFA as well. How was that playing against the best,
A little bit humiliating. I'm not going to lie.
Humbling, dude. We'll call it humbling. An absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. We love you guys. Never forget it. We'll see you.
We celebrate his
to do it
birthday
all over
tomorrow.
again for his birthday tomorrow.